Merry Christmas. What's good, y'all? Six Element of Hip Hop. Merry Christmas, everybody. It is Christmas Day, and we just chilling, man. It is the DCU versus MCU holiday bash. Nah, we just on here kicking it, man. We just chilling, man. Some people gonna be popping in, popping through as we kick it. Just hanging out for those of y'all who just had nothing to do on Christmas Day, or already did the dang thing with your family. And it's about dinner time. Everybody should be done eating good turkeys and hams and all that. But if you don't celebrate Christmas, if you don't celebrate any of the Christmas spin-offs, we'll call them, then here we are, man. We just kicking. It's just another day. Yeah, man. But DCU, MCU, so much stuff going on right now. They are really bubbling, really cooking. But there's other shit too. We got Masters of the Universe going on. Karate Kid's making a new movie. Invincible's coming back. Dexter has a prequel show. Transformers got the crossover movie coming. Oh man, it's just so much stuff. I mean, Supergirl. Supergirl. Am I calling her Super Wonder Woman? Supergirl. We got that filming update right now. All that good stuff. I got some interesting news about the Superman movie and characters that we're going to be seeing in the movie that were not in the trailer. That very cool. That haven't really been talked about. We're going to talk about what's going on with the Flash in the DCU and why that may not be right away. For sure. Marvel is doing some things. We got the new they officially finally confirmed the Hulk MCU return. Because we know, like, the Hulk, really didn't ever get a fair shake from the MCU because of all the copyright, whatever, contracts. They got the Hulk back now, so got news on that for you. Spider-Man 4, Black Cat. Do we have the casting? Avengers, we got, Captain America, Evil Cap. We got Evil Doctor Doom, our evil Tony Stark, Evil Cap, maybe Hydra Cap. We got promo art for the Fantastic Four. Jonathan Hickman has a new comic series coming out, and it looks amazing as always. Hickman always kills it. Jean Grey casting. We got X-Men news. It's already going down in the MCU. The X-Men have already been bubbling, and they're already working on them. We got info about that. Yeah, man, Jeff the Land Shark is coming too. Got his own joint. Star Wars, though, I think we'll cap it. We'll start it off with the Skeleton Crew because that show did just pop off. And man, if you have not been enjoying Skeleton Crew, you don't have a pulse. I don't know what's going on with you, my guy. It's a good show. It's definitely it's geared toward kids and all of that, but it's Star Wars. I mean, Star Wars has always been a kid's, pretty much a kid's thing, that grown ass men have still, at least, I mean, look at this. I'm buying action figures. I'm 45 years old, guys. Star Wars goes nowhere. Speaking of that, check this out. Darth. There he is. Man, I chromed him out. You can't see it. Look at the detail on the boots. Look at all that chrome. Yeah, when they first made him, he's real bland, real boring, nothing to him, but I chromed out all the parts. It's not going to focus. Darth Malgus, anyway, from the Old Republic, my favorite Star Wars era. Waiting on the Darth Malak figure there. You can see some of the chrome accents and whatnot. But yeah, and his mask and everything too. Very cool. Dude. Yeah, man. Star Wars. Skeleton Crew, rather. I'd say the most Goonie episode yet. If you're into the if you like the Goonies, if you like that kind of stuff, man, this was definitely the episode for you. They really have been building up. I think the show's gotten better with every episode. A lot of people complained about the last episode. I didn't see the problem with it at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, this show is really good. Coming off something like The Acolyte, where it was just utter trash, I was really scared, like a lot of us were, that Disney had no clue what to do with Star Wars, would never figure out what to do with Star Wars, and Star Wars was just pretty much doomed, you know, post George Lucas at that point. But nah, Skeleton Crew has definitely given us hope again. Let us know that there's still people there in Lucasfilm that love Star Wars, believe it or not. I know that's hard to believe, judging by all the content those folks have given us. And but man, there's people still in there. But this evening I saw the fifth episode from the Disney Plus series Star Wars Skeleton Crew. It's called "You Have a Lot to Learn About Pirates," and it begins back on at Atten, where the kid's dad Wendell and Neil's mom Numa are trying to work against the planet's strict system, of rules to get a signal to their children. But unfortunately, the security droid kind of throws a monkey wrench in there. But after opening the title, we're back aboard the Onyx Cinder, and Jod, Jude Law, Jod, and the children debate whether to take up the pirate droid, wake up the pirate droid SM-33, who attacked them at the end of the previous chapter episode. But Jod has tied down 33 with rope, because we all know rope can hold any android. So they take the chance, and everything's apparently okay. 33 tells the crew about, his old captain, Tack Renaud, a name that Jod is familiar with as the most infamous pirate the galaxy's ever known, and how he would have kept the coordinates to Atten in his lair beneath the very piratey sounding location known as Skull Ridge Mountain. Right. After Jod gives Wim some advice about forgetting everything that he ever knew or loved back home and creating his own adventures, he suspiciously drops a quote from Qui-Gon Jinn along the way and demonstrates his Force abilities once again, which I think are total BS. It's always metal. Everything he moves is metal. So right there, this is some magic, some magnet trick, some magnetic electromagnetic trick that he's doing. He probably has some sort of cybernetic implant, some cyborg thing in his arm or something like that. Who knows? To be fair, old people make toys. I know it, right? Not kids. And listen, ain't no kids buying these days. Axel, salute. Merry Christmas. Welcome to the show. Figure John says, I know several friends that liked Acolyte. They're all girls, but not everything is for men. And here's the thing. You know what I said? If you go back and look at my videos when I first did my review on Acolyte, I said, this is the Star Wars show my girlfriend would have made. Because that's exactly what it is. It's a Star Wars show that girls who, and to be fair to all the wonderful female Star Wars fanatics and gurus and badasses who are women who love Star Wars, I'm not talking about y'all. But the females, your average woman who just doesn't get Star Wars, that's who made the Acolyte. They just don't get Star Wars. They don't understand what they're doing. They did, honestly, what they thought Star Wars was. Like, when I watched the Acolyte, I'm like, you know what? This reminds me of like what, one of my ex-girlfriends would have thought that Star Wars was. Like, when they see us watching Star Wars and they glance at the screen and they walk by while stuff's playing, they hear little things, and that's what that's all they get from it. It's like the Acolyte was like what they got from what they saw. It's funny when you analyze it. So do you think they'll ever be a Marvel and DC crossover movie? Absolutely, I do. Rope is a great Hitchcock film. Yeah. No, but they will do a Marvel and DC crossover. Eventually. There's been plenty of comics, and it's been talked about. The people that run those two things, eventually they want to do it. But of course, man, they want to establish their own base first. DCU, let DC get something first, right? Because the DCEU, crumbled like a house of cards, and then the DCU is just being born, but I think it's going to absolutely dominate and well, at least with comic fans, for sure. I know comic fans are going to much more appreciate what Gunn is doing than what Feige's been allowing to happen with Marvel. I will put it like that. But Skeleton Crew, when they arrive on the planet Lanupa, they find this remember Skull Ridge Mountain, so you're expecting this, Castle Grayskull looking place, right? But when you get there and it's like Vegas, on a mountaintop, it's beautiful, it's all lavish and everything. And so like a luxury resort is there. Jod is tricking the hotelier into believing that the kids are wise elders from an alien species that doesn't speak, because of course kids can't come in the casino. So just covers their face, puts hoods on them, and like, these are the wise elders from such and such, because why not? It's Star Wars. Plus, Jod then has to hand over most of what's left of the credits that they had. They had a bunch of like credits that Wim had that they were using on their adventure, and he basically had to give it all up so that the concierge would rent them a room at the resort, because they got to get into the basement. Very Goonies. This is a very Goonies episode. They've got to get into the basement, because under the basement there's a cave system with the treasure, right? It's very Goonies. Very, very Goonies. The Jodna is recognized as soon as they go into the place by another bounty hunter, who's played by Kelly MacDonald, which blew me away. I did not expect Kelly MacDonald to be in this. Had no idea she was going to be in this. Kelly MacDonald is she was kind of the co-star of the Boardwalk Empire show with Steve Buscemi, the bootlegger show from HBO. That was fucking awesome. If you didn't see it, check it out. Do you think it would be animated or live action? Axel, I hope it's animated. I'll keep it a buck. Live action. And you know what I'm going to tell you? You know what we're going to talk about the live action Masters of the Universe nonsense that you've just made me think of here in a minute. Merry Christmas, Derpy. Merry Christmas, man. Hey, let Gunn cook. That said, I didn't like Creature Commandos due to the wonky comedy, but I'm hyped for Superman, Supergirl. Nah. As for Marvel, I have hopes for the Daredevil show. Daredevil show looks really good. I mean, it's based, you've got all the same actors from the original, the Netflix show, which I thought was great. So, but apparently it's going to be like the Netflix show on steroids. According to Daredevil, it's going to be more violent and more R-rated than the Netflix one even. So I find that hard to believe that Disney's going to be more violent than the Netflix one and more rated R than Netflix. But I don't, it's possible, it's possible, because hopefully they're learning. I mean, they hopefully they learned from Deadpool. They are learning. They're making a lot of changes. There's a lot of rewriting and shit like that going on, which I'm going to talk to you about here in a minute too. A lot of good information today I got for you guys. So hang out. You're going to learn a lot. But anyway, the gang gets a room and starts working on finding this lair, while Kelly MacDonald's bounty hunter character Pocket calls in the bounty on their heads, placed by Captain Brutus, the werewolf guy, who is a really cool character that's based on a George Lucas alien. That's probably the only Disney alien that's an animal that's not a Disney alien. Yeah. All the Disney aliens, they're animals. They're anthropomorphic furries. Like, I don't know why anyone is not like catching on to this, or why Disney's allowed to get away with this. But every single alien that is created by Disney, it seems, is some sort of an animal. Just looks like an animal. I mean, you got the kid Neil, clearly based on Dumbo. He's definitely just a little elephant head on a human body. And for those who think that this Neil is the same species as the keyboard player in the Jabba the Hutt, the big blue guy with the big elephant looking trunk, no, completely different species. We know that because we've seen an adult one on the show in episode 5. We've seen his mom. I don't know if we probably see her in the early episodes, but we've seen grown-ups. They look just like Neil. They have a trunk. It has holes in the bottom of the snout, and has pink underneath, different ears. The Jabba the Hutt keyboard player has a big bulbous nose that is completely has no holes in it or nostrils or anything like that whatsoever. The eyes are different. It's completely blue, has no pink undertone. The ears are slightly different. It's just a different creature. I can see why, though, people thought it was the same. Hard to believe, yeah, but Deadpool 3 was violent. It was. I mean, all the Deadpools were. So, but yeah. Maybe you're just biased Marvel fan figure because I see no difference of Creature Commandos being wonky comedy. Oh, to figure. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of it. The comedy that Gunn does, and here's the funny thing: Marvel after Guardians of the Galaxy, Marvel really started to try to make everything a comedy. I don't know if anybody noticed that, but like if you go back and look at every movie, pretty much, give or take, since Guardians 1, all of a sudden they all had to be comedies. Especially, it just, and then they tried to literally replace Gunn with Taika Waititi, who was like, reminded me of my girlfriend trying to make a Star Wars movie, doing what he thought Gunn was doing. And we got Love and Thunder. So there you go. Like, all comedy is not good, but I think Gunn does it very well. That's just me personally. But Creature Commandos, we're going to talk about in a second too. Did you think that Deadpool and Wolverine saved the MCU? Not yet. I think that they're heading in the right direction. I think that movie is a good step in the right direction. I hope it inspires them to understand that, it's okay to make these movies for comic fans because everybody else will like it too, because there's a reason that comic fans like it, because it's good. That's why you're making movies about it. Like, come on. But the fact that also that that adults and rated R superhero movies will sell, it hopefully it proved that and taught them that, because I think that's a very important thing, especially when it comes to if you're looking for things to be like, really authentic or whatever. Because listen, comic books they're rated R. I mean, 9 times out of most comic books are very violent. They have all kinds of stuff going on in them. Haven't been for kids exclusively since the 30s, really. Like, so, like, not an argument really. But as if that wasn't enough trouble there, the kids that are in on Skeleton Crew, though, Jod is also recognized, like I said, by that bounty hunter. So when the bounty hunter sends the wolf and all his guys to catch them, and then eventually they make their way into the chamber that they're looking for down underground, where they've got to look for a device that the Elephant Kid Neil, the one who figures this part out, and then thanks to some rotten food, triggers a hollow message from the old captain, and that's where we finally learn the secrets of At-Atten, and that's what this whole show has been about. Spoiler alert, everybody! This channel is a spoiler channel. We don't hold back. So yeah. So At-Atten, we've found out that it is, drum roll, spoiler alert. If you haven't watched it yet, turn your TV off. Just don't say I didn't warn you. The coordinates to At-Atten. So they find out that the revelation is that the planet served as the last Old Republic mint. So a mint meaning, where they make the money. Old Republic meaning my favorite era in Star Wars. And a beautiful nod to that, to that great era that I hope we start getting content for. I hope they start making Old Republic shows, movies, animated stuff. That shit is just the peak, in my opinion. But then, just like pretty much everyone they've crossed paths with so far has warned them, Jod betrays them, as we all knew he was set up to do. Like, if you were surprised that Jod betrayed the kids, or have you been watching the show? Holds the kid at night. It's a little silly, though, to be honest. Why did he betray the kids? I really don't understand this. He finds out that At-Atten is, worth a lot of money, which he already knew. It's a treasure. He already knew that. Okay, the mint, fine. But it's a planet. It's a big, like, you're one guy. Are you going to go there and just take over the planet and now the mint is all yours? You need these kids to deliver. this is your reason to go there. This is why they're going to let you in and maybe give you some of that money, but you're not going to just own at Atten. So why he decides to betray the kids, take over as captain, hold a knife to the little girl's throat, and attempt to take them prisoner. Not really sure. I think he should have been like, well, I'm going to deliver you, kind of maybe get a reward, maybe, get in there, maybe live in this utopia. Who knows? But he played it kind of silly. It's going to backfire, but we know this is all, how it's written. So during the search of the room, Wim had found an old lightsaber. So we finally got a lightsaber in this show. So it's definitely Star Wars. But having never wielded a lightsaber before, hilarious scene I thought was really cool. Kid takes out the lightsaber and he's like, let my friend go. And he's got the lightsaber and he's going to ignite it, and he ignites it. And of course, it's upside down. So the blade shoots downward and hits the ground and pops up. And it's fucking hilarious. Kid runs and sits down in the corner. So the kids, I'm not sure how they knew this, but they were sitting on a trap door, and the kid hit the switch, and the kids got, they fell down the trap door to get away from Jad Na. And I got to say, this is really a great episode. Probably my favorite so far, because of how much it leans into the Goonies influence and how much fun it is and how much the payoff and all of that stuff that we kind of finally get. So this is a really great episode, best one so far. Design of the locations, environments is still phenomenal, guys. The budget for this one is really good, but it's really well made. Like this show, Andor production quality, skeleton crew, like Mando, from there, like this is right under Andor. So very, 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 very good production quality on the Skeleton Crew show. My man Cook's in the building. Just cause me and you have discussed it, your thoughts on those Wolverine cameo characters. The what you mean in Deadpool when they came in and showed all the different Wolverines and stuff? That was hilarious. That was hilarious. Deadpool 3 saved the Fox universe. The MCU is still in shambles. Latest news. Have you heard on X-Men 97 and What If animated series? Yes. X-Men 97, is greenlit. They're still gonna go. What If the season 3 just came out. The first episode of the 3 episodes that they gave us for What If season 3 is a Hulk episode, so we get to see a lot of Hulk action, and it's real hardcore Hulk action, Devil Hulk and all that stuff. I haven't finished it. Haven't really gotten into those yet. Haven't finished them yet. Not a fan of the last season, by the way. Didn't like the last season of What If. I felt it was just like, what are we doing here? But do you Deadpool and Spider-Man will ever interact? Do I think Deadpool and Spider-Man will ever interact? I think so. I think they should. But yeah, you're gonna dig it, man. Definitely. Speaking of the Hulk, we got some news on the next Hulk movie too coming up here in a minute. So guys, stay tuned. But speaking of Andor, my favorite Star Wars show, we got the release date for the next episodes and all of that stuff. And when it hit screens and when it first came out in 2022, it didn't have the same level of hype as any of the other Star Wars projects. A lot of people didn't know what to think, and it was a prequel spinoff of a very popular hit movie, Rogue One, which is my third favorite of all the Star Wars movies. And this is someone who really does not like Disney Star Wars. So that movie is very good. But the series didn't initially cause much of a stir, or have a big, like pre-made fan base or anything like that. But it's phenomenal storytelling, standout performances from actors like Stellan Skarsgård and Andy Serkis turned it into a critically acclaimed show, Emmy nominee, and of course the fans A lot of most of the fans really loved it. Unless you're like, unless you just want the fantasy stuff and you're just into, Siths and force power and lightsabers, it's not that. This is definitely the Empire and spies and all that cool shit that Star Wars has in it as well. But yeah, looking ahead to the premiere of Andor season 2 next year, showrunner Tony Gilroy shared with the Empire that the critical recognition paved the way for a greater creative freedom this time. So the success of the first one gave the second one a lot of momentum. So expect a very, very cool show, much better than the first one. He said, quote, "The critical appreciation of the show was really helpful, if not essential, in helping Disney accept the cost of what this is." And that cost is substantial. A lot of people talked about the Acolyte being crazy, $180 million budget, and then look at the piece of shit they gave us. I think a lot of money laundering went on there. I think they didn't use all that money for the show. Just saying, like the potted plants from Earth to create the alien world was a little. I don't know how they got away with it, but with a budget of over $250 million for the first season, Andor, they're actually upping that dramatically, like to the tune of 300 something million for season 2. So we're talking about $650 million for the Andor series as a whole. So, if you write good stuff, guys, Acolyte guys, it doesn't matter how much you spend, people are going to watch it and love it. Nobody watched The Acolyte. That's why it failed. Period. It's not about how much they spent or any of that. The show just sucked. It wasn't written well. But yeah, Andor cost over 291 million, 645 million over the two seasons to date. Other than Andor and other than Skeleton Crew, we have the Mandalorian and Grogu show, sticking with Star Wars here before we hop on to the other topics, because there are many and so much to cover tonight. We're going to get to it all. People will be coming and going and stuff like that maybe, but I just want to get through all this stuff. We got a lot of good info that I'm very excited to share. But the plot of the Mandalorian and the Grogu movie is not really known, but a lot of important members of the cast have been confirmed. Obviously, Pedro Pascal, will be Din Djarin. You've got Grogu, who's just an animatronic puppet. But Sigourney Weaver will be part of the film, but we don't know what her role is going to be yet. She has been rather tight-lipped about how she'll fit into the movie's story. Jeremy Allen White will voice Rada the Hutt, the son of Jabba the Hutt. The character of Rada first made the appearance in the animated series, The Clone Wars. So, but the Mandalorian and Grogu movie will be the character's live action introduction. Johnny Coyne will play the Imperial warlord who leads a faction in the remnants of the Galactic Empire. The fact that there is a warlord who's leading a faction of remnants of the Empire just makes me so happy, because that is the movie. That is the sequel trilogy George Lucas would have made. It was going to be about warlords, remnants of the Empire, bounty hunters, gangsters, Darth Maul and his apprentice. Just would have been so much better than the nonsense Disney pulled out of its three asses. But yeah, a prominent character in the animated series Star Wars Rebels, Zeb Aurelios, will be played by Steve Blum, none other than the awesome voice actor of like Wolverine, and does some really cool voice acting. My favorite Wolverine. But the Mandalorian Grogu certainly keep audiences on the edge of their seat when it arrives in theaters in 2026. So we got a ways to go. But yeah, as of right now, Mandalorian Grogu scheduled to come out on May 22nd, 2026. In the meantime, you can watch the 3 seasons of The Mandalorian if you really want to, but I would just recommend the first 2. You can skip the third one entirely. I don't know what the hell it was about and who it was for. So it's, not good. Now, one last thing about Star Wars before we move on. One of my favorite Star Wars comic series is Dawn of the Jedi, because it actually tells the Dawn of the Jedi. It tells the origin of the Jedi as a culture. It tells the origin of the Sith as a culture, as a race. Just all like how lightsabers came about. All of that stuff is revealed in Dawn of the Jedi. When I heard they were making a movie, I was concerned, to say the least, because again, it's one of my favorite Star Wars products, and it's just that type of thing that Disney will really just screw the hell up. You know, they will just screw it up, because the guy that's making it, James Mangold, he had a great, he's writing a script. He had his whole thing plotted out. And then he said Kathleen Kennedy, came to him and demanded that he rewrite the script to include or facilitate or relate to Rey and her legacy. Now, you've got the Old Republic. Let's just put this in perspective, which is 20,000 years before Luke Skywalker. People look different. They dress different. Everything is different. Lightsabers are different. Everything is different. Nothing resembles George Lucas's Star Wars in the Old Republic. It's that far away. We're talking about 25,000 years in the past, way before the Old Republic. So not only is this shit not even supposed to resemble anything of modern Star Wars, but to try and link it or relate it to Rey just absolutely cheapens it, just destroys it, in my opinion. Much like what they're doing to the Masters of the Universe movie, which we're going to talk about in a second, because god damn it, that shit grinds my gears. Lucasfilm hasn't released a Star Wars movie since The Rise of Skywalker, with Charmin Obaid-Chinoy's planned Rey movie recently put on hold. Thank you, God. Disney has been betting all its chips on Andor and The Mandalorian. So, they're doing the Mandalorian movie directed by Jon Favreau. It's a whole thing. With the exception of Mangold and Levy, there's at least 5 other Star Wars projects currently in development, from Obaid-Chinoy, Dave Filoni, Donald Glover, Taika Waititi, and Patty Jenkins. I have faith in maybe 2 of those. Taika Waititi? No, sir. No, sir. Love and Thunder? I'll never watch. If you made Love and Thunder and actually thought it was good, I can't trust anything. Your judgment, nothing. I don't fuck with you. Obaid-Chinoy, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to Star Wars. Her and Kathleen Kennedy, Leslie Headland, their whole little group of friends, their little girlfriends group, where they just sit around and hate on men and hate men and talk about destroying the patriarchy. Why did you buy Star Wars? Why did you buy Marvel? Why did you purposely set out to get IPs that boys would be into, because you dominated the market for the girls? And so you bought Marvel and Star Wars to attract boy fans, and then you want to womanize it. Well, that's not the wrong term. Feminize it. Who knows? Who can follow the logic? But I watched Craven. What do you think? Craven, just like all the Sony movies, didn't make any sense. First of all, it shouldn't be called Craven the Hunter, because that's a villain. It should be called Craven the Hero. Now, if they called it Craven the Hero, it's a great movie. It was really cool. It was like action. It was like cool. But if you're like really looking for Kraven the Hunter from Spider-Man, he's not there. They do this Hollywood thing where in the very last scene of the movie, he puts on the comic accurate look and sits in the chair and finally looks like Kraven from the comics. Why do you do that? Why don't you just make him look like that in the beginning and then make a movie about the character that you told us you were making a movie about? Instead of telling us you're making a movie about a character, then basically creating your own character, naming him the character we know, and making a movie completely unrelated from anything recognizable from the comics. How do they expect this to work? I don't know. I don't know what they're. I'll tell you, I think it's money laundering. I'll tell you the truth. Like, I really think it's money laundering because, like, they're just taking the money, these huge budgets to make these movies, and then clearly are just pocketing most of that money. Definitely aren't hiring writers. But I mean, it's a shame because I really did thought it was like a cool movie. Like, Kraven the Hunter movie was a cool movie that in and of itself. As a Kraven the Hunter movie, though, yeah, I mean, you know, Sony wanted to make all these Spider-Man villain movies without Spider-Man, without mentioning Spider-Man, without even it being about Spider-Man, or like even like, dude, if they would have made these movies as like origins for Spider-Man's villains, that would have been cool. If they would have mentioned Spider-Man, maybe a newsreel we see on a TV in the background talking about something Spider-Man did. Like, let us know Spider-Man's here, he's around in this, even if he's not in the movie, even if you're not including him, you know what I mean? Just like, because that way people can be like, okay, like, now I'm into this movie, now I'm invested, now I can follow the stakes, I'm interested to see what happens to this character, wonder what's going to happen in the next movie, are they going to make another movie, blah 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 blah. So, what are you gonna do? Skeleton Crew has the wonder that made original Star Wars so popular. Absolutely, Mighty Rax. I mean, it really draws back to George Lucas's idea of Star Wars, and it's a lot of fun. It's 80s, very Amblin, very Steven Spielbergy, very, very E.T., Goonies, Stand By Me-esque inspired, Lucas Star Wars is rock. Disney Star Wars is literal rock. It has nothing to offer. It's just there. The Force is female. No. It's not a male or a female, guys. So I heard somewhere that Kraven will be the last Sony Spider-Man universe movie. I hope so, Axel. That's what I hear. Great point about Kraven. Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? There's not much you can do if you're using a Spider-Man villain and not talking about Spider-Man. It's not. I don't know. It just I'm trying not to like say what everyone else already says about it, because everyone already has their opinions about that thing, but about them doing that. But it is what it is. But let me just segue over here, kind of, because something that I believe Axel said earlier. Was it Axel? Yeah, man. So Daredevil show, we'll talk about that. Yeah. But yeah, Masters of the Universe making a live action movie. Oh shit, we're all excited. Last time we got a live action Masters of the Universe movie was the 80s, and kids were pissed. Coming away from it, looking back on it, like the movie itself, for like a Hollywood movie, okay, it wasn't that bad. It had a lot of good points. Like the Skeletor character was really well done. It had its good moments, but like kids at the time, if you were 10, 11 years old around that time or whatever, and you were expecting to see the characters from He-Man that you were really confused when a little orange dwarf guy looking like Yosemite Sam's grandpa comes out as the, taking the place of Orko. Like, where's Orko? Like, what's that dude? And then what's this little thing? Why are we on Earth? Who's this little kid? Like, why does it look like LA? So my big thing was, if you're going to make a live action He-Man movie, make it in Eternia. Make it about Eternia. Make it about He-Man from Eternia, in Eternia, Castle Grayskull, Snake Mountain, Skeletor, Beastman, right? Merman, all that shit. And I want to recognize what I'm looking at from the 80s. So we're all excited about they're making it, praying that, it's going to be in Eternia, actually. And I'm pretty sure, like, they learned from their mistake. They're not going to fuck us over and give us another, He-Man in Chicago movie. But there's been several different interpretations of Master of the Universe, various media, since the original 80s series. But the upcoming live-action reboot from Amazon, MGM, and Mattel is going to make a pretty major change to the established lore surrounding Prince Adam He-Man. And the change itself, I already hate, because I hate when they change established lore for no reason, just to, like, say it's their own. Like, who cares? Like, get off your high horse, humble yourself. You've chosen an IP that has a built-in fan base. Don't then try to make it your own. If you really want to be creative, make your own thing. But I digress. The famous scooper Daniel Richtman said that the movie is going to introduce Adam as a regular guy in the real world, working a boring office job. Apparently, the whole He-Man and Masters of the Universe story are tales he heard as a little kid. Stay with me. And I'm pissed about this for a reason, because, again, they already did this to us in the 80s when they told us we were making a He-Man movie, and we got Dolph Lundgren in his underwear running around LA. What the fuck? But again, like, in and of itself, decent film, not Masters of the Universe, not He-Man, not the 80s cartoon that we know and loved. And that's the problem. Like, but again, there's been a lot of different variations and shit like that. But so, if accurate, if this the scooper is correct, this would suggest that this rumored synopsis that we've seen is indeed on the level. And here's what it says. Man, again, man, we were just talking about, like, I gotta, like, iterate. Like, we really wanted this to be an Eternia, guy. We really wanted this to just be in Eternia, start in Eternia, take place in Eternia, end in Eternia. Don't mention Earth at all. There's like one character that you could use to mention Earth if you really wanted to, but why? Just don't mention Earth at all. Just like, did you see in the cartoon or in the comic books? Do they ever talk about what's going on in your neighborhood? No, it's in Eternia, man. So, like, we really wanted that really bad. But here's the synopsis. It says, 10-year-old Prince Adam, who crashed to Earth in a spaceship and was separated from his magical power sword, the only link to his home on Eternia. It's not done, but I want to. How do you crash to Earth in a spaceship? Is Eternia a planet in our solar system, or fucking somewhere? Like, it's just another. So anyway, after tracking it down almost 2 decades later, Prince Adam is whisked back across space to defend his home planet against the evil forces of Skeletor. But to defeat such a powerful villain, Prince Adam will first need to uncover the mysteries of his past and become He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. this dude, I couldn't be more like meh. This is such bullshit. Because again, there have been a few variations of Prince Adam's origin in the animated shows and the comic books over the years, but this would be the first time that we'd see the character grow up on Earth before making his way back to Eternia as an adult. Although it's worth noting that the 80s live action movie starring Dolph Lundgren was primarily set on Earth, and that's why I have such a problem with them doing this to us again. I'm just really, I probably won't even watch this movie. I'm going to boycott it. I'm pissed, but it's not exactly an original concept anyway, but it would allow Adam. Okay, I'm going to tell you why they're doing it. This is why they're doing it. This is why they did it the first time, because it allows the audience, the casual audience who's not maybe fans of He-Man, gives them a surrogate into the movie, right? So, you know, having Adam be a guy from Earth with a boring job, it lets the audience of normal people be like, oh, I can relate. And that's how they cast a wider net to get more tickets sold to a casual audience. And that's the problem with a lot of comic book adaptations and a lot of comic movies, the MCU and all that, is they try to earthize it, modernize it, make it like the real world so much just so that they can, you know, so people can relate or whatever. But like, it's a fantasy movie. Like in Lord of the Rings, did they ever like have the main character teleport back and forth from New York? No, because they don't have to. And like Hollywood thinks they have to do that, but it's He-Man, guys. Like, you don't have to do that, bro. You really don't. There's plenty of fucking fans. It's a big enough thing. It's not some niche unknown IP. It's fucking He-Man. So like, why do you have to do that? You know, it's, I don't know. The movie stars Nicholas Galitzine or Galitzine. Go look up Nicholas Galitzine, 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 if you want to. That's who is playing Prince Adam He-Man. Guy was in Riverdale. Does not at all look like He-Man or like he could ever be He-Man. Dude looks like a twig. Now, you know, even if they bulked him up pretty big, maybe Allison Brie is going to be Evelyn, second in command to Skeletor. But most tragically, Idris Elba is going to play Man-at-Arms. God damn it. Jared Leto is Skeletor. So they're like, you know, I'm surprised The Rock isn't in there as Beastman or something. Like, this doesn't but yeah, after numerous false starts, Netflix was all set to develop its own take on you know, the beloved animated series back in 2022, but we got word earlier this year that the latest attempt to get that project off the ground was fallen by the wayside, and so that's not happening. But we learned later that Amazon MGM Studios had acquired the movie with Bumblebee director Travis Knight in talks to helm. But the movie is now set to hit theaters June 5th, 2026. Chris Butler rewrote the script from an initial draft by David Callum, who did Shang-Chi, and previously the Nee brothers were attached to direct, but that's changed. Todd Black, Jason Blumenthal, Steve Tisch will will produce along with Devon Franklin. So, but yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about these plot details? You guys happy that He-Man is yet again being set on Earth? Like, I couldn't be more disappointed. I really couldn't. Speaking of 80s IPs, though, peace, salute EGC, what up? Speaking of 80s IPs and reboots, they are finally doing a Karate Kid movie where the Karate Kid is actually Asian. Like, and while it does have Jackie Chan as Mr. Han, it also has Ralph Macchio in it as Daniel-san. So it's going to be a combination of the two worlds, the Mr. Han, you know, Will Smith movie, and then the OG Danielson movie. Whether Cobra Kai the show is going to be in universe is a bit foggy right now. It's gone back and forth. We've heard that it is. We've heard that it isn't. We've heard that they're just completely ignoring it, and that it actually wouldn't be possible to take place with the story that they're telling. So we'll see. A lot of people will be upset about that. A lot of people, because a lot of people really love that show. Me, I don't. Karate Kid, when I was a little kid, like that was the shit. Like when I was a little kid in the 80s, like I was in martial arts ever since I was in kindergarten. So I've always been into that. Like that was always my shit. But like I grew up, and then we had the Will Smith one, which I thought was really cool. My kids liked it. The Cobra Kai show was nostalgic. It was a little too much about the kids for me. Like I thought this show would have been fine if they would have just made it about, the Karate Kid movie characters grown up. They could have done a show just with that cast. That would have been fine. And I would have watched it. But I did watch to see, I wanted to see John Kreese and the dude, Terry, is it Terry Silva? The guy with the ponytail. Like I want to see all the bad guys coming back and all that stuff. So I did catch a few scenes and some Vietnam flashbacks I thought was cool. For the most part, though, I didn't really totally invest in Cobra Kai, but yeah, this new movie, it's got an Asian lead. The kid, the Karate Kid himself, the young kid, is an Asian actor. So, which I think is long overdue. I mean, come on, you're making a movie. His name is Ben Wang, and you're making a martial arts movie called The Karate Kid, and it's always an American. So cool that they're doing it that way. There's actually some link that they're going to be linking Mr. Miyagi and Mr. Han in some way, some connection between the two. That who knows how that's going to go, but it's a very interesting concept. But for years, it was believed that the 2010 Karate Kid movie was separate from all the other films in the series. However, the announcement that Jackie Chan would be appearing in the Karate Kid Legends movie alongside Ralph Macchio confirmed that all the Karate Kid movies take place in the same universe. So it was exciting to learn that Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio would be, on the same, in the same scenes and sharing the screen together, and that the reboot's connection to the rest of the Karate Kid films would be, how's that going to work? It does create a problem for this movie, since Jackie Chan's Mr. Han was heavily inspired by Mr. Miyagi and was in many ways meant to be a new version of Pat Morita's iconic character, and there was concern that the two teachers were too similar now that they existed in the same continuity. Mr. Han is basically a copy of Mr. Miyagi, which would be very distracting for Daniel in the Karate Kid Legends movie. I dismiss this theory, and the confirmation that Mr. Han knew Mr. Miyagi presents the Hollywood solution to that silly little problem, since experiences that they may have shared together can explain why they have similar personalities. I think this is unnecessary. I think you have two elder martial arts Asian teachers of there's gonna have some similarities, and that's pretty much that all the similarities that they do have. They're patient, primarily peaceful, other than the fact that both of their wives died in completely different ways, totally unrelated, different circumstances entirely. I don't see them that close together at all, so I don't see a problem here. But after no new Karate Kid movies were being made for over a decade, this announcement that both Jackie Chan and Machio would be appearing in the movie. Rightfully worried some of the longtime fans of the franchise. There was concern that Chan and Machio were only starring together in the movie because they are two of the biggest names in the series, and that it was just, for the cash grab, nostalgia gimmick. And since they previously starred in movies from different eras of the franchise, bringing them together seemed forced. So that's a valid point. Initially, it did seem like the writers of the Karate Kid Legends movie were breaking canon just to kind of include both of the stars and doing it as a very Spider-Man 3, type gag. But I don't think it's a problem. What do y'all think? I don't think it's a problem, but we'll see how that goes, man. Mr. Han, Mr. Miyagi. Anybody watch Dexter? That show was cool back in the day. I thought it was pretty cool anyway. Serial killer that only kills serial killers. Kind of a vigilante dude. But they have recently made a second spinoff, which is a prequel to when Dexter was a little younger, just becoming a cop when his dad was still around, teaching him the code. Y'all know what I mean if you watch the show. But yeah, one of the main villains of that show, the original show, was the Trinity Killer. So if you guys were into the Dexter show, the Trinity is back in the new prequel show, but I have no idea how they're going to focus on his younger life and how he became, the monster that he became. His origin was already revealed in the original Dexter show, and there's details of all the places that he has been and all the people that he's killed. But I guess there's still some areas to explore, if audiences are interested. But I think sometimes it's better to just let some villains be mysterious. They didn't know each other. So, there's no reason to show the origin of a character that he doesn't meet for 20 years. So I don't know. I think it's another one of these sort of gimmicky cash grabs. But I think the whole show is kind of, sadly, unfortunately, I was really excited because I was kind of a fan of Dexter, but it's not bad. I'm still watching it because Christian Slater, one of my favorite 80s childhood actors, Christian Slater was the shit in the 80s. Heather's fucking couple of cool flicks he was in, but he's in it. Who else? Buffy the Vampire Slayer from the show, Sarah Michelle Gellar, a couple other people, but it's really cool. Loverboy was his name. He was in Mobsters. What was his name? Oh well, but there's a couple people. It's a cool show. But yeah, it's kind of cheap. But a cool show that I know you guys all dig is Invincible. And follow the comic. Robert Kirkman reveals the number of seasons of Invincible that he believes would be ideal, because that's one show that is definitely sticking to the comic and being very faithful to the source material. Very, very, very well. So I really love it for that reason. But with another trailer debuting in Brazil, we got season 3. So we know season 3 is about to drop, and it looks very, very promising. But yeah, that's what Robert Kirkman's talking about. He's talking about sticking to the comic, following the comic storyline and all that, and literally keeping this show going. 144 issues of the comic, so a lot of episodes, a lot of seasons they plan to do. So just season 3, because me personally, if you've read the comic, if you're into the comic, you've been like, man, they are really dragging this thing out. They're just showing it all, and they plan to keep going. So it's fine. It's fine. He said, the way Simon and I have mapped it out, there would kind of follow the comic, and where the breaks would be roughly 8 seasons, could be 7, could be 10, but the more seasons needed, the harder it will inevitably be to pull off, between the cast and the crew, needing them, the time, Prime Video's commitment and all of that. But when asked to confirm if that 7 to 8 season span is the ideal, he joked, or 9, I can be greedy, end quote. So yeah, expect at least 7 seasons of Invincible. coming out. That's really cool. Speaking of Invincible, Battle Beast has his own comic. Battle Beast is one of the big villains in Invincible, probably my favorite. And here is the cover of his own new title. Get off my screen, you pesky ad. Show my friends. There you go, guys. All right. Casual Toy Collector, salute. Merry Christmas, man. Yo, Dexter was good. Haven't checked out the new joint. They there was actually a couple new. They did a follow up to the first show, which was after the end, the finale of the original show. He kind of he escapes and goes to like Alaska or wherever, Nova Scotia or whatever it is, and becomes like a logger or whatever, and kind of disappears. And so they did a show where his son tracks him down and they sort of live together, and then eventually, spoiler alert, his son kills him in the end, and that's sort of how that ends. This new one, they started back up at the end, and he's like, they're taking him away on a gurney, he's got the bullet hole, and he's narrating as he does, and his life's flashing before his eyes, I guess, kind of is the premise. And they go back to him not as a kid, but as like a 20-year-old just coming out of school, flunking out of med school or quitting med school and joining the force, which his dad doesn't want him to do. Harry, like I said, Christian Slater plays Harry in this one, plays his dad. And it's just a cool dynamic, and you get to see like the young Batista, the young all the characters and stuff when they were young and stuff like that. Hope the show has a Spawn cameo like the book. Man, so do I, Mighty Rex. I really do. I guess that'll probably depend on McFarlane, but Battle Beast, this is his own book. That's Battle Beast #1 right there. It says Invincible Universe, Battle Beast #1. Cover A by Ryan Otley, and a bunch of variants they got here. Series premiere, the best new, not quite a superhero series in the universe, cursed with a unquenchable thirst for violence. Battle Beast searches the universe for the one warrior mightier than him, and glorious death is his only reward. But even in a universe of mighty Viltrumites like Invincible and Omni-Man, it seems that no one may be able to stop the galaxy's deadliest warrior unless he does the unthinkable. Superstars Robert Kirkman and Ryan Otley present the most demanded Invincible story of all time, revealing the secret story of Battle Beast that's perfect for any longtime fan, no spoilers, and readers alike. Cover C, blind bag. This is the first of its kind blind bag program. The blind bags will include a chance to get any of the solicited covers from A through I. However, there are rare surprise issues that may or may not be related to Battle Beast or the Invincible universe that can be found in these blind bags. Those surprise issues will not be publicly announced in advance of the issue release in shops April 23rd, 2025. Weird. Very frustrating for people who like to collect them all kind of thing. I really hate that when they make shit like impossible to get, or you have to get lucky to get one. Like you can't just decide you want to get them all. You have to actually get luck. I really hate that shit. But if you dig it, man, Battle Beast is doing it. All right, man. Man. Do we go to Marvel or do we go to DC? So here it is, guys. It's time for the DC versus Marvel. Goodness. I don't know, guys. What y'all want? Y'all want DC or you want Marvel first? Merry Christmas, everybody. Having fun, just hanging out. Gonna fire me up another Christmas blunt. Why y'all decide DC or Marvel? Where my dogs at? Damn. Come through, fool. Yeah. Yes, sir. Them trees, boy. All right. Hold on. Hang on. I'm not going nowhere. I'm right here. I want to grab a coin. And we're going to flip a coin. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Merry Christmas to all. Golly. All right, ready? Heads DC, tails Marvel. Tails it is. We're saving DC for last. Before we go into Marvel and DC, though, I do have a bit of a unboxing. It's not really an unboxing per se, but well, it's not unboxing because I already unboxed it. But check it out. Last week I showed y'all the Iron Grenadier Trooper, and now we have gotten the Iron Grenadier Bat. In all its glory. And here he is in all his glory. It's got the Iron Grenadier color scheme, gold and red, gold and burgundy, if it would focus. It's not focused right now, y'all. Hang on. If I put this background, sometimes it... Oh, you know what? If you notice that the gold is a little bit shinier than usual, that's because I repainted it like I do. My liquid chrome. Gold. Dopeness. Sheesh, that looks good, brother. And I chromed out old Malgus here I showed you guys earlier. And I'm just about to start chroming out Ghost Dog. I just finally got him because he was like $8. I never get movie characters. Like all my figures, hundreds of figures, they're all comics and like cartoon characters. Like I never buy the MCU figures. Generally try not to buy like Star Wars characters that are actors and shit. You know, I get like, you know, Siths and soldiers and guys with helmets and shit like that, droids and sometimes aliens and Jedis. But I don't know. I just I really hate. I don't know. I just don't like the way the movie figures look. I think it's because they're trying to make the faces look like actors that I know and recognize, and then it makes them look wonky. I don't know. They just look. It just looks silly because like I know. Like if I didn't, like if it was just a random face that wasn't someone I knew, then I wouldn't see how not real it looks, if that makes sense. I think it's like an uncanny valley type, you know, scenario, situation, or whatever. But whatever it is, that's what I do. That's what I'm into. That's what I like. One of the best figs of this year. I agree. The bat is super duper fire. The gold, black, and red is popping, and I am definitely ready for Iron Grenadier Destro. Man, he was one of my favorite. Like as a kid, I really liked the Iron Grenadiers for some reason. I really dug that Destro. I think it's just because it came out. You know, it came out at the time when it came out. It was like 80. Was it like 87? I think they came out 87, and so I was probably 8 or 9. That's like the perfect G.I. Joe age. 8, 9, 10. That's where I was really, really doing it. But I love the color scheme too, man. They really put a nice couple colors together there. But yeah, man, flipping that coin, we got that tail. So that is Marvel. So let's just dive into this Marvel stuff, man. We got a lot. Normally we've just had a lot of great DC news lately because DC is killing it. James Gunn is killing it as far as comic fan material, really like making the movies for comic fans, whereas Marvel makes the movies for the casual audience. Fans of comics might like it too. You know, I think it should be the other way around. I think the movies should be made for comic fans, and the casual fans might like it too. That's what you do. Any subject, like any topic, like if it's about firefighters, and you make a movie about firefighters, you're going to make sure that real firefighters see that movie and go, yeah, that's realistic. That really happens. Or, that's really what it's like. Or I really dig this movie. And if real firefighters and, fans of firefighting or whatever go and see that the firefighter movie is authentic and they tell everyone how great it is, then the casual audience will go see it. But if all the firefighters say that firefighting movie you made is trash, it's unrealistic, it's not how it really is, the casual audience is going to go, okay, well, then why would we go see it? So it's the same thing with comics, with anything, man. If you make the comic fans happy, everyone else is going to follow. Because if you make a movie and all the comic fans say it's trash, everyone else is going to be like, okay, well, I guess we shouldn't see it because the fans of it say it sucks. And this is what Disney does not get. It's what James Gunn fully understands, and I think that's why what he's doing looks so much cooler than what Marvel has cooking. And I'm a Marvel guy. I'm not a DC guy. But I'm more excited for the Supergirl movie. I'll tell you why in a minute. It looks fucking good. Mark Ruffalo is reprising his role as the Hulk. Or should I say the Hulk is reprising his role as Mark Ruffalo, because they, for some reason, make the Hulk look just like Mark Ruffalo, but green, which I think is not, he should totally just contort, like his face should become a monster. He should not be that recognizable where it's just like Mark Ruffalo's face on like a big green head. That's stupid. But we'll see how they do it now that they're learning. But thanks in advance from the original source of this info. But in a bit of a change up compared to the previous seasons of the series, the third season of Disney's animated series What If has actually brought the original actors of the Marvel characters back to reprise their roles, taking a cue from James Gunn's DC promise that all the actors in the movies will voice all the characters in live action or in animation, video games, and TV shows. Same actor, always. Now, that actually includes none other than Mark Ruffalo himself, who, unbeknownst to most prior to Season 3's debut, played Bruce Banner in the latest episode of the series. And the first episode of the season of What If, Season 3, the Hulk fought the Mech Avengers. Mark Ruffalo voiced Bruce Banner alongside many of the returning MCU actors. The episode, you've got Anthony Mackie playing Sam Wilson, Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, David Harbour as Alex Shatowski, Simu Liu as Shang-Chi, and Oscar Isaac is back finally as Moon Knight, since the first Moon Knight show is back to the MCU for the first time. So that's cool. Moon Knight is finally back. And in case you missed it, the first episode of the final season actually dropped yesterday, and the second episode is already out too, and I think the third episode, so you got 3 episodes of What If now. And then a lot of cast coming back to reprise the roles. Like I said, Catherine Hahn as Agatha Harkness, Kamal Nanjiani as Kingo, Dominic Cooper as Howard Stark. You've got James Darcy as Edwin Jarvis in the second episode, and who played the character in the TV series Agent Carter and also Avengers Endgame. A new episode of What If will be dropping every day until the conclusion of the series, December 29th. So not a weekly series, a daily series. And that includes, surprisingly, today, Christmas Day, we actually got a third episode. So Howard the Duck Got Hitched, it's called. And you've got Seth Green as Howard the Duck, Samuel L. Jackson in there as Nick Fury, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, and Michael Rooker as Yondu. So That's pretty cool. Doesn't sound particularly Christmassy, but hey, at least it sounds, like a lot of fun. Marvel officially debuts our MCU Avengers lineup as well in a new trailer. So, we've referenced the new Avengers lineup before, but this isn't just a rumor or gossip. This is the real deal. A new Marvel trailer. We got our first look at the new team. Although this is an official MCU Avengers lineup, it's got a little twist because it happens in What If. Season 3 Disney series, again, 22 airing episodes on December 22nd is when it started, and so there's still a few days to wait before we get to the ending, of course. But I think snapshots taken from each of the 8 episodes reveal that the Avengers are being led by Sam Wilson. You'll also spot X-Men Storm wielding Mjolnir, as well as Moon Knight. Rejoining the Avengers. And we might not be getting Moon Knight in a second live action series, unfortunately, but we'll have him here. But season 3 follows classic characters as they make unexpected choices that will mutate their worlds into spectacular alternate versions of the MCU. Which is my only gripe with this What If season, is that it's only about the MCU. I really thought when they said we're going to get an animated What If series that we were going to be straying from the MCU and be getting What If, like comic What Ifs, which they could have just had so much fun with, just like doing anything with all the comic characters. But for some reason, Marvel acts like they can only do MCU characters in media, which doesn't make any sense. You've got X-Men 97. There's other shit that's not the MCU that is just okay, man. Disney needs to stop it. Speaking of X-Men, we've laid our eyes on the new Cyclops. The new imaging comes with a tragic backstory. While not tragic, Spider-Man's origin has undergone a controversial transformation in the new MCU series that's dividing fans. But there's a lot happening in the MCU right now. Some of it amazing, some of it heartbreaking, some of it meh. And we can't wait to see the different, trials and tribulation that this new Avenger team is going to go through. But I think it's going to be a good season so far. It looks like a good season so far. But the Hulk being, seeing some Hulk action, I was just really happy about, really excited. I was just really happy that we finally got some real good Hulk action. But yeah, they're not recasting. But yeah, Disney's Marvel films have been seeing a few recastings over the years. Like Terrence Howard got recast, of course, as with Don Cheadle. Edward Norton, replaced by Mark Ruffalo. But yeah, I think Ed Norton was the worst or the biggest tragedy, because he's way better in my opinion as Bruce Banner. Phenomenal actor, big fan. But yeah, probably because the sounds of things, he was a bit of a pain to work with. He was a bit, I guess he's a little bit like a pretentious, kind of I'm the star kind of guy. So who knows? But sad because it could have been man. But apparently, what are they saying? They said there's a little more to it. However, it's a little excerpt here that I'll read to you guys from Joanna Robinson's book, MCU, The Reign of Marvel Studios. And it says, we have a no asshole policy on our movies. And it's a great policy. We have made the decision not to bring Ed Norton back to portray the title role of Bruce Banner in the Avengers. Our decision is definitely not one based on monetary factors, but instead rooted in the need for an actor who embodies the creativity and collaborative spirit of our other talented cast members. The Avengers demands players who thrive as working as part of an ensemble. as evidenced by Robert, Chris H., Chris E., Samuel, Scarlett, and all of our talented casts. We are looking to announce a name and a name actor who fulfills these requirements and is passionate about the iconic role in the coming weeks. Damn, Feige, you don't even have to read the lines to feel the sass behind his words, especially when he explicitly states that it wasn't based on monetary factors. So, yeah, he's definitely made a point that that's why I always wondered why they got rid of Ed Norton. I thought it was Ed Norton just didn't want to do it or something, or he was, didn't want to get, typecast as like a, too much into the comics. I guess he wanted, because, he's like an actor's actor. He wanted to do different shit. But he kind of like fell off after that. I don't know, like he quit acting. But that's the truth. Is the truth. But yeah, man, Marvel has what? We've got Spider-Man 4 coming up. We've got Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield returning in Spider-Man 4 because everyone loved it so much in No Way Home that we want to see all three Spider-Mans back again, being goofy and having fun, because gimmicks are always better than good writing, right? But yeah, previous rumors have claimed that Sony Pictures' Tom Rothman and Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige had a difference of opinion when it comes to the plot of Spider-Man 4, with Feige hoping to scale the multiverse elements back for a smaller adventure, which I think is the way to go. Rothman, meanwhile, is said to have wanted to capitalize on No Way Home's big box office performance and bring Maguire and Garfield back as their respective takes on Peter Parker. Dude, fucking don't do that, please. Like, just don't do that, please. Because, like, honestly, I love Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. He's my favorite Spider-Man. I wish they had just made, the movies with him, but they didn't. So please don't bring him in. And by the way, Tobey Maguire seems like he doesn't want to be there anyway. So, like, anyway, it's just such a gimmick. It's just such a it's not Spider-Man-y. It's not, it doesn't feel like Spider-Man. It doesn't feel like a Spider-Man comic. It doesn't feel like Spider-Man, turning Spider-Man into this big MCU cosmic villain battling, armor wearing tech guy is just a little bit in the wrong direction. Like, Spider-Man's a kid that's really smart and tech savvy and, can make his own, web shooters and stuff like that. But he's a street, he fights guys in Queens. Like, he's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's supposed to be more down to earth, more smaller, better written. So hopefully they're not going to do that. Hopefully Feige wins out and they make a smaller, less multiversal movie. But yeah, who knows? But whatever disagreements, they seem to have been ironed out. But the project is moving forward with the No Way Home writers Chris McKenna and Eric Summers working on the script. Shang-Chi, the Legend of the Ten Rings director, Destin Daniel Cretton directing at the helm, and then the movie, has gotten the release date of July 24th, 2026. So even so, some pretty wild rumors continue to swirl, and we've been hearing that everyone from Venom, Null and the Symbiotes, Daredevil, to answer someone's question earlier, Punisher, and Mephisto are all set to appear. So we'll see. But now the Cosmic Circus Alex Perez has shared some updates saying, he said, both Marvel and Sony want this film to be a team-up movie in the way that Marvel produced Deadpool and Wolverine. This could take the form of Tom Holland's Spider-Man and Tom Hardy's Venom joining forces to battle Null. But Perez's sources are also claiming that Maguire and Garfield will return, and they will have a larger participation than they had in No Way Home. Dude, I don't know about y'all, but like, I if you're gonna go all out, then yeah, have it Venom and Tom Holland and Tom Hardy fighting Null, huge cosmic, big deal like that. Fine if you're gonna go all out, but like if not, just do a good Spider-Man. Just write a good movie, write a good story, adapt a comic book. There's a novel idea, which is like what I love about DC. They're actually adapting actual comic books rather than just making movies with everything that character's ever done as fodder to use. So it doesn't. You end up getting these, non-story driven event blockbusters, and people get fatigued. They call it superhero fatigue. It's not. It's that same cookie cutter bullshit ass movie fatigue. It's shitty writing fatigue. It's Hollywood gimmicks and shit fatigue. So, get back to writing, guys. But the movie has been described as mostly grounded, that kind of with some multiversal elements. So hopefully, an Avengers level event. Hopefully, and so that. But if even half of the rumors are accurate, we're definitely leaning towards the Avengers level event type situation. So Tom Holland will, of course, be back as the MCU's Spidey, but Zendaya's role as MJ has reportedly been reduced to her commitments to other projects. We know that at the end of Spider-Man, he was wiped from everyone's memory. Nobody from that universe knows who Peter Parker is, knows who Spider-Man is, or anything. So not having MJ as the love interest is almost guaranteed. That being said, Anaya Taylor-Joy, who played Magic in the New Mutants movies, she's in a bunch of other shit. She is rumored to be playing Black Cat. Man, that would be awesome. Black Cat, new characters, great introduction to the character. But yeah, nobody remembers who Peter Parker is in the comics, and nobody remembers who Peter Parker is. And the comics have established that early on, at least, Felicia has zero interest in Peter Parker. Reeling from the loss of MJ, Spider-Man heading down a dark path, I think seems like a logical step for Black Cat to, be the type of character that he's now going to be involved with. And the Spider-Man franchise producer Amy Pascal was asked directly about the Taylor-Joy Black Cat rumors at a recent press event, and she responded, "She would be fantastic. She's amazing, but we're not quite at that stage yet. There's a lot of fantastic female characters, but I can't talk about all this." End quote. So yeah, she totally blew it off. Didn't answer, didn't deny, didn't confirm, as they do. And is she playing coy or just like reeling off the expected response to a question about a bogus rumor? So it's hard to say, but I think, we might be able to clear a little bit up. So this weekend, the Cosmic Circus shared another of its rumor roundups and mentioned, he said, "I heard that Gwen Stacy was being planned to be introduced as the new female lead for the trilogy a while back, while Peter entered college and replaced Zendaya's MJ for a bit. But that was a while ago," end quote. Because remember, he's starting to go to college. So, but that's not a new rumor, and though it does mean it possible that the New Mutants actor and Furiosa actor is being starred is going to be playing Gwen Stacy and not Felicia Hardy. I'd much rather see Felicia Hardy because we've already fucking seen Gwen Stacy. Hello. Everyone wants to see Black Cat. Why are you resisting? But this is what Marvel does. This is what Disney does. They resist at all costs pleasing comic fans or giving comic fans what they might want. They resist it like a rule. They try very hard to not adapt comic books. They don't want anything to be very recognizable. They want everything to be its own thing. and they just want to make it a very broad, very general, very all-encompassing, appealing to everyone, and that's their bag. That's what they try. They want to appeal it. They want everything to appeal to everyone, which you end up with a lot of vanilla, flavorless bullshit because nothing appeals to everyone, and that's fucking okay. Like, why do you? It's like it's greed, guys. Greed. It's 100%. It's greed and nothing more. And nothing more. You can call it politics. You can say agendas. Blah blah blah. It's greed, greed, greed. That's it. Period. They know that they're just gonna try to make more money. I mean, they're gonna make more money by selling more tickets. So they want more, idiots in idiot land to like the shit and buy tickets. That's it. So they can't make it too complex. They can't make it too it can't reference too much stuff that the casual general idiots might not know what it is, because God forbid they don't understand something in the movie, or have to research or have to look up something. I remember, like, back in the day when I would see some shit, I'd be like, oh shit, I want to go like research and find that shit in a book. But today's audiences are not yesterday's audiences. Shout out to Casual Toy Collector chatting it up. Edward Norton wouldn't have let the Hulk be so underused. That's probably true. Like Ed Norton would have definitely probably did something if he could. But yeah, a lot of people do blame Marvel for underusing the Hulk. Honestly, that it's Universal's fault for handcuffing and holding the Hulk ransom for some reason. It's kind of like Sony, how they did with Spider-Man for so long. It's like, guys, Marvel's back. Marvel's bought all their shit back. They've got a big cinematic universe. It's wildly popular. Give them their fucking characters back. You're never going to make a Hulk movie. And if you did, it would be shunned out. It would be completely pushed out by the MCU. So it doesn't make any sense to sit there and handcuff the Hulk like they did. But they did, and we suffered. So, but hopefully now, we'll start to see the Hulk creeping back in. But talking about Marvel and moving along into the real interesting shit is the Avengers. And that's shit that everybody's into. Now, Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. teaming up for the Avengers Doomsday as Doctor Doom and evil Captain America in this MCU fan art that I just wanted to show you guys. I think it's a fucking dope concept. And since we are getting Tony Stark as Doom, wouldn't it be cool to see Hydra Cap? I think so. Ooh, there's another color scheme. Ooh. Bro, that would be so brutal. And here's the thing. Hydra Cap, it would just be that multiversal whatever. Like no, we're not saying that the original MCU Captain America is going to be the Hydra Cap. And also, we're not saying that the original MCU Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark that died in Endgame is going to be the exact same guy who is now Doctor Doom. Please don't think that Marvel is that ridiculously stupid. They're dumb, but they're not that dumb. Like, this Tony Stark, if it even is Tony Stark, is a different Tony Stark that has become Doctor Doom. I really don't think Robert Downey Jr. is going to play Victor Von Doom. I think he's going to play a version of Tony Stark that becomes Doctor Doom, much like in the comics how Reed Richards became Doctor Doom, which was all but confirmed by that comic writer who said, my comic is going to explain the movie, how Robert Downey Jr. is Doom, that everyone fucking ignored. They've already explained it. But yeah, following Robert Downey Jr.'s recasting as Doctor Doom, it would make sense for the other MCU veterans to appear in the Avengers Doomsday as twisted versions of their beloved classic heroes. And it perfectly sets up Chris Evans to appear as Hydra's version of Captain America, who made his mark on the Marvel Comics in 2016 in Captain America Steve Rogers storyline. And this version of Steve Rogers was created by the Cosmic Cube named Kobik, originating in the alternate reality where he'd been indoctrinated by Hydra at a young age and raised by Daniel Whitehall, and replaced Earth 616 as Captain America, and Hydra's Steve Rogers set to work restoring Hydra's former glory by unraveling a scheme that gave him control of the United States in the Secret Empire event. But if you haven't read Secret Empire, definitely recommend that. It's a very good comic run. That see, here's the thing. If this was James Gunn, if this was DC, if this was the DCU, they would have done just that. They would have gotten Secret Empire comic and adapted that comic, that story. But instead, Marvel just goes, okay, we're going to make Captain America movie. Let's look at everything Captain America's ever done in Marvel from when he was first created until yesterday, and we can use any of that stuff in the movie. What? Let me break down how dumb that is. If you know anything about comics, that makes no sense. Here's why. The first Captain America was one guy written by one author who was created, and there he is, and he had a story that began and it ended. Then another guy wrote another story about a Captain America that began and ended, and that was a different story. And over the decades, different authors have written different stories, and technically it's supposed to be the same character, yes, but anyone who read comics knows they're very different in a lot of ways. And don't let it be like the Ultimate Universe or some other universe version of the character, which Marvel, the MCU, has no problem taking shit from all these little side universes and putting them in the main thing. For example, Fantastic Four, they've got Shalabal, the female Silver Surfer. Well, in the comics, Silver Surfer's a man. His name is Norrin Radd, and it's always been so. It's never been a female ever, except in Earth X, which is a completely offshoot universe. Norrin Radd, the male Silver Surfer, asks Galactus to let him bring his wife with him as a Silver Surfer. So Galactus grants her. So Shalabal and Norrin Radd together are the twin surfers. But at no time is just Shalabal the Silver Surfer. So they've literally taken this character out of a story, out of another universe, plopped it in with the main, this other story in this other universe, and tried to and that's the problem. That's why they're not adapting comics. And that's why this stuff isn't for comic fans. They're just taking anything that these characters have ever done and used them to make movies, and that's fine for the general casual audience who doesn't know any better. But it's not fine. It doesn't allow you to really write a good movie or to write a good story, because you're really just trying to. It's almost like you're doing the opposite. They're trying to kind of like please fans by like giving you everything you've ever heard of in one thing. But like, we don't need that. It's like every movie doesn't have to be an origin movie. We don't need that. Fans already know this stuff. Do origin stories help new fans care about a character? Absolutely. Do we need to do another origin story about Spider-Man, though? I think everyone kind of knows how Spider-Man. And it's like Superman. Do we really need a Superman origin? Batman. Do we need a Batman origin movie? So DC's not going to do that. They're not going to do any more origin movies with characters that don't need them. And thank God. And thank God, because then we can get into the story and we can actually see them doing something that we might have seen them do in the comics. It's like I was talking about earlier with the Craven. They do this in these Hollywood movies. At the very last scene, we'll see the character look like he does in the comics, and it's like, well, damn, man, that would have been a great movie if he looked like that the whole time. But why'd you do that? You know what I mean? So it doesn't make a lot of sense the way they put it together, but they put it together for the best monetary gain, basically. But yeah, Marvel has the Fantastic Four movies coming out, and we kind of already know how they are going to look. But if you haven't seen them yet, this is what they look like, and it's pretty it's Fantastic Four, so the suits always kind of look the same, but at least they're pretty comic accurate. In this case, I like they're a little bit more comic-y with the big white gloves, and he's got big white boots on. I've seen him, his boots and stuff. But does he look like Reed Richards? No. Is he gonna sound like Reed Richards? I don't think so, but it doesn't really matter. Reed Richards is not a character that it really matters. He's just a guy, so that's fine. I'm not super familiar with her work, but she, the casting isn't the most inspiring. I'm not like Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm. Honestly, why? Because he's coming off of Stranger Things, and he's really popular at the moment. Is that the only reason? Because he doesn't really fit the character. Eben Moss Bachrach plays the guy in the chair for Punisher in the Punisher show with Barenthal. He was a good, and I can see him playing the Thing. Like that casting kind of makes sense. So that kind of works. John Malkovich, I don't know what he's doing. I really hope he's playing like Mole Man, though. I really do. Paul Walter Hauser, I'm not sure. Natasha Lyonne, who knows? Sarah Niles, I don't know. But you've got Julia Garner as Shalabal as a Silver Surfer. So a lot of people are boycotting this movie just because Silver Surfer is not Norrin Rad. Now, I'm willing to hope that they're just talking about Julia Garner, the female Silver Surfer, to stir up controversy, and that they're actually still going to have Norrin Rad like it is in the comics. I'm really holding on the thinnest shred of hope on that one, but we'll see. Galactus, though, I'm really excited for. Ralph Ineson, I think he's got the voice. His voice works, and it's a pretty much graphic animated character. So it doesn't matter what he looks like, I don't think he looks like Galactus in any way, shape, or form, but he definitely has like a really cool, like deep, really super deep and interesting voice that I guess that they'll probably completely make unrecognizable with all sort of sound effects and weird shit that they'll probably put over it. But judging from the way that the Celestials looked in Eternals, I think he's going to look really cool. He's not going to be a big cloud. That bullshit. And for that, I'll be happy. But Fantastic Four, July 25th, 2025. But speaking of the Avengers, speaking of the Cap and Iron Man, every single character that we know who is going to be in Doomsday, Doctor Strange will continue his multiversal shenanigans in Avengers Doomsday. For sure, we got Sam Wilson's Captain America returning to lead the Avengers. You've got, which makes me again hope for the Hydra Steve Rogers. I still think that would be just perfect. The Fantastic Four is all going to be in Avengers Doomsday. That whole cast. Spider-Man will most likely return in Avengers 5, if not definitely Avengers Secret Wars for sure. Yeah, which hopefully is where he gets the black suit like they do in the comics. But again, we're talking about the MCU, guys, so please understand, Marvel, awesome. MCU, Disney, different thing. They don't care about Marvel. They don't care about the comics. They're not doing anything, for comic fans whatsoever. Peggy Carter will return in Doomsday in some way, which I'm not sure. But in the latest piece of like casting news that Marvel out of Marvel Studios is that Haley Atwell will return, as Peggy Carter. So she's from Avengers or Captain America, the first Avenger movie. Chris Evans is coming back as in MCU or in the Avengers Doomsday movie. Now we know Sam Wilson is Captain America leading the Avengers, so I'm really hoping, like I said, that Chris Evans is coming back as evil Cap. That would be fucking dope since we're getting evil Doom. But yeah, Dr. Doom, of course, is going to be played by Robert Downey the Jr. So that's I think is them starting to understand what they did with Deadpool Wolverine and like let's kind of shy away from all the bullshit that we've been doing and let's get back to making movies the way we did before Endgame, and hopefully they can pull something together with these movies. The problem with these movies, Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, is that they are they're trying to make them just as epic and just as meaningful and just as impactful and just as big as Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. The problem is, even if they're better than Infinity War and Endgame, which isn't that hard because Infinity War and Endgame, they're decent movies standalone by themselves. They're cool movies. But what made them epic and had motherfuckers crying in the theater and what made them so great is the buildup of all the MCU building up to Infinity War and Endgame. And so when finally we got Infinity War and Endgame, all the characters that we've been seeing for 10 years and all the, that we cared about and they're all here and Robert Downey Jr. is dying and Chris Evans is turning old and like we're seeing this shit and it was really heartfelt because of the buildup. Marvel doesn't have that now. Since Endgame, they've put out crap after turd after doo-doo after shit after shit after shit after crap. And save for like Guardians 3, Deadpool and Wolverine, it's been like shit. And so there's nothing to build up. There's no build up. It was going to be this whole multiversal thing and then the whole Kang thing. And then that just went nowhere. So they've got no build up. They literally have to build this off of the success of Deadpool and Wolverine, hopefully the success of Fantastic Four. If Fantastic Four bombs, Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars are standing on their own and because the Captain America movie is not looking great. Already not looking great at all. It's got nothing but problems. It's had nothing but trouble. And it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. Sadly, it does not look good at all. So I don't have any faith in that either. But something I do have faith in, something I am really happy about. Jonathan Hickman, my favorite author right now in comics, has a new series or a new comic title coming out called Imperial, which launches in the summer of 2025 amid rumors of galactic leader assassinations. Hickman is known for X-Men, the Ultimate Universe, returns to Cosmic with potential Shi'ar Empire ties. Hickman is really renowned for the Nightly News, Fantastic Four. He did, I mean, honestly, like, the dude is done some of my favorite work altogether. I mean, he's, like I said, he's got his own series, Nightly News, the Manhattan Project, East of West, phenomenal comic that you probably never heard of that you should really check out, as well as lengthy stints on Marvel's Fantastic Four. He did an incredible Avengers run, New Avengers run, Shield limited series, which is really cool. He created the Fantastic Four spinoff title FF, where we got Franklin Richards, like a basic, like a god that could just like create galaxies in his fingers. Like, that was a really great series that I hope that they're going to be adapting some of for this Fantastic Four movie. Jonathan Hickman, a lot of people ask me, man, like, why don't they just let Jonathan Hickman write these movies or something? Like, why don't they just make Jonathan Hickman stories? They kind of do. They do a lot. He definitely had a lot to do with the Ultimate Universe, which inspired a lot of the MCU. He created characters of the Black Order, right? Ebony Maw, Corvus Glaive, Proxima Midnight, Black Dwarf, Supergiant, all before it led up to a new Secret Wars title. So Jonathan Hickman did the latest Secret Wars, Avengers Secret Wars. So the Avengers Secret Wars movie is going to be inspired by a Jonathan Hickman comic, Avengers Secret Wars. Between 2019 and 2021, he did the House of X, Powers of 10, X-Men Krakoa Age. He wrote, started that whole thing. And a writer for the end of the original Ultimate line of comics. And he was behind the relaunch of the new Ultimate Universe, which he's working on now, which has been really dope. You've got Ultimate Black Panther, Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men, the Ultimates. There's a bunch of cool new comics that he's doing that are really great. Ultimate Invasion. And he also worked with Nick Spencer, Mike Del Mundo, Mike Hiddleston, created the 3 Worlds, 3 Moons shared universe for the Substack newsletter service. He also created for Marvel with Valerio Schiti, a new series entwined into the Marvel universe called Gods, Gods, which was really good, though it came to a very abrupt end. But recently he's worked with Asad Ribic on Aliens vs. Avengers and Greg Capullo on Wolverine Revenge, which was really good. And now something Imperial. It's called the comic is called Imperial, right? So Empire. I'm thinking Shi'ar Empire, maybe. Back to the Imperial Guard for the first time since the Krakoan era. But it would be a good excuse to go cosmic again, which is where I think Jonathan Hickman shines. He really his more sci-fi cosmic stuff is definitely my favorite. Imperial Guard, he said. Let me see. He said, what did he say? He said, I was going to do an Imperial Guard book with Bobby and Sam, and it was going to be them on the other side of all that technology stuff, and the Shi'ar and Imperial Guard and Starjammers would have been part of it, I'm sure. But it would have been a big space book sending all of that for when, seeding all of that for when we eventually, obviously, were going to crash it all together. But it was going to seed all of that in a way, in a pretty intense way. It was so, I'm bummed about that. I'm reading what he said. I clearly set them up to do all of that when I did those 4 issues of New Mutants. That was clearly where we were going to go with all of that. I have a couple of things that I was really looking forward to doing that I'm just not about to go, but they're in great hands. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't quite text right. But yeah, Imperial looks really cool. It says Jonathan Hickman presents the end of the beginning. Marvel Comics Imperial. Nature abhors a vacuum. Summer 2025. Jeff the Landshark, cool little character that has been drumming up a lot of popularity lately. Is may get his getting his own little animated movie. So as I said, we've talked about it, but it's really having property that is it is a film. A film to me is a statement. You have 2 hours and it's something to say to the world, as opposed to a TV show, which is a longer form and more of a conversation with the audience. If and when we do see the animated MCU movie, could Jeff the Landshark be involved? So I don't know. Some people really like that character, and I think he's pretty cool myself. X-Men said to be casting early to mid-20s director currently being sought. Now, it seems that Marvel Studios is finally starting to make some progress in the long-awaited X-Men reboot, following a recent rumor that the Stranger Things alum Sadie Sink is going to be the top choice to play Jean Grey, which I think is a really good casting. So I would hope that actually does happen. But whether Sink ultimately winds up being cast as Jean Grey or not, Marvel is said to be looking for actors in the same age range, early to mid-20s, to play our new team of mutant heroes. So that tells us that the new X-Men movie is going to be a young team of X-Men. Is it going to be the original team, way before Storm and Wolverine and all those guys came along? I kind of hope not, although I wouldn't be mad if it was. Me, I'm a big Mutants fan. I'm a big X-Men fan. That's really my shit. And I would love to see a full-on just mutant universe. I think the Mutants universe is easily big enough to have its own universe, but definitely could have its own phase of Marvel movies. It's so big. There's so many. I mean, besides all the teams and stuff like that, there's just so many different mutants, mutant characters, mutant stories, and just phenomenal graphic novels and stuff that they could adapt. But we assume this means that. As far as that, with the younger guy, the younger actors and stuff playing the X-Men, the report is that a director is also currently being sought, but doesn't mention any candidates or anything like that. But the movie will be set after the events of Avengers Secret Wars, so it's going to the phase of Secret Wars and all this current phase is going to end with Secret Wars. The next Marvel phase will be a mutant phase. So they are getting their own phase. It's not just going to be a mutant movie within a phase, which, that I've been, really hoping to get to hear. And I'm glad that we finally have it confirmed that, yes, that is how it's going down. But we assume this means that Jackman will be teaming up with Ryan Reynolds for the 4th Deadpool movie, because, after he also iterated that the plan is for Deadpool and Wolverine star Hugh Jackman to stick around after Secret Wars and do more stuff with Deadpool, end quote. So, yeah. Where would that leave Logan when it comes to the X-Men reboot? We've heard that another actor won't actually be cast as a new take on Wolverine, at least not initially, and that the character simply won't be a part of the team. So if that's accurate, this would allow Jackman to make a few more appearances, as the fan favorite Berserker, while giving Marvel time to think about how they're going to replace him once he does retire. Because obviously, if Marvel had it their own way, they'd keep Hugh Jackman as Wolverine until he literally turned to a skeleton and died on the set. They don't care how old he gets. Hugh, on the other hand, was done until the Deadpool movie came around, and then they coaxed him back. I don't think they're going to be able to coax him back for too many more projects. Definitely not any big projects, probably, and certainly not years from now. So if you're like me and you really like Hugh Jackman's version of the character, but really crave to see a comic accurate Wolverine. And no, I don't mean the silly little midget that they did in the Deadpool Wolverine movie, which was a funny but I think nonsense joke, because an accurate comic Wolverine is muscular and very imposing, albeit short, but hairy and animalistic, and just looks like a badass, vicious beast that you don't want to fuck with. That's what I would love to see. Not so much the tall, pretty boy, Hollywood, star, Wolverine that kind of goes against what I know the character, my favorite character, to be. More of a grimy, more of a just, not such a clean cut looking dude, and just would love to see them finally tackle that. Knowing Marvel, knowing the MCU, currently, or the current MCU, or should I say the MCU before we saw Deadpool and Wolverine, I would have expected X-23. If they ever do another Wolverine, I expect them to do X-23, the female version, because it's the MCU, and that's just what they do. Now that they've realized that all that woke agenda bullshit is gone out of style, people are sick of it, it's no longer the thing, and hopefully, that's going to start, changing, and they'll stop, wasting all these characters and actually start writing decent movies and stuff. So, but it all remains to be seen. But during a recent interview with discussing the film, Kevin Feige was asked how it feels knowing that we're closer to seeing the X-Men and the Avengers together on the big screen. He said, "It is extremely emotional on a personal level to have done a movie with Hugh after 25 years and me being a small part of that first X-Men movie, and knowing that thanks to various corporate studio entity deals, we now have thousands of great characters back. Characters that I hadn't frankly thought about in many years. And because we didn't have the rights to them, but now that we do, it's great fun thinking about who we can finally." Our animated series X-Men 97 was sort of the first taste of people reuniting with the X-Men mythology and that storyline. The response to that series just further excited us about how to bring the soap opera and the saga of mutants into the MCU. End quote. So a big response there from Feige about the Avengers. And what I think they should do, I really want to see, is an Avengers versus X-Men as told by Jonathan Hickman, just so very well that he did. But let's pause, guys, before we hop into the DC stuff. I want to welcome somebody here to the show, Eddie Lima of End of Zed.
Hey, Reno, can you hear me?
Yeah, buddy, what's going on, man?
Oh, man, listen, I got the invite and I had to come, man. I had to come see you on the happiest of holidays, to wish you a good one, man. Say how you and the family are doing, and thanks for the invite, partner. How you doing? How's that?
Always. Absolutely, man. Merry Christmas to you, brother. Happy holidays, whatever.
Hey, yes,
and
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Yes. How
just hanging out.
Santa treat you good or what? Santa treat you good?
Yeah, man. Always, man. Just hanging out and kicking it here. We were just talking about the current MCU right now, getting ready to go into the DCU with all that news. But before we do, how'd that go with End of Zed, man? How's it going?
Excellent, man. We ended it like right before Thanksgiving, and it was a successful campaign. Yeah, it was. I think we were asking 1,500. We ended up getting like 1,980, which would have been perfect. I was looking for like 1,982 because that would have been perfect, because that's when he lands in the South Bronx. But so I just needed $2 more, and that would have been cool,
Oh man,
but successful nonetheless. And to thank you for it, Reno. You're one of the big reasons for the success, man. Not only telling your audience, but certainly how you helped me market it and on Instagram and everything. So that's one of the reasons why I needed to get on, man. To not only personally thank you, but certainly to make sure that you're ending your year off right.
Yeah,
so
man.
Thank you, man. And I can't wait for you to get it in your hands, man. I got your address, so when that puppy comes out, I'm gonna probably get it in January.
Nice.
Even though I got like a demo copy. Did I ever show you the demo copy of it?
No.
Yeah, so here we are, man, in all this glory, man. Watch out.
Ooh,
nice and glossy, man. And Reno, I got a couple special editions for you, And this
Nice.
is just like the demo sample of it, but man, it came out nice, man. Really, the
Oh
printing,
wow.
it did its justice. You know, he lands
Nice.
down in the South Bronx.
Look
He's
at that.
figured wording where he is, and then yep, yeah, he makes it, man. He makes it. So and then I'll give you a sneak peek of the next page, which a lot of people didn't see because I only gave him the first 5 was exactly what he lands to. I never showed you this page, Reno.
Nope. Nope.
Yeah,
Nope. Nope.
man. So here he is right here, and he's saying to himself, "Oh man, where the hell did I land to?" He's trying to get back to HQ. He sees these silhouettes in the fence,
Yeah.
what the hell is that? Then he actually thinks it's one of his robots because it looks like this helmet. So he goes,
All
"Yeah,
right.
now I understand the mission. I'm here to rescue this dude off this selfish planet." But nah, it ends up being this dude with an afro. It's actually DJ's computer tells, "Look, nah, this human specifically is known as a DJ." What's he do? Well, he kicks the party. He's known for entertainment, entertaining humans, and then of course the party starts, and he feels the magic, man. He feels the magic. If you notice the song there, it's
Rock. Planet
Planet
Rock.
Rock, Don't
Don't
Stop,
stop. Hey.
which was one of my
Nice.
most impressionable songs. And then he feels it, tells the crowd, everyone say ho, everyone screams, and then there goes his ear, and then that's where the magic starts, man. His because remember, he comes down damaged and everything. So after that, he gets his hearing back, he gets like super
Yeah.
hearing, and then it's like really the powers of hip hop is what actually heals him,
Man.
So it's like it heals a lot of us, heals a lot of us. So.
Absolutely, brother. That is so cool, man. I can't wait to get that, man, and read it. I hope it really gets to a lot of people, man, because I really love the hip hop aspect to it, and bringing these two worlds together is what we do. It's what we set out to do, man. Because hip hop and comics have always been connected, man, ever since the beginning. Like hip hop, before it was even called hip hop, MCs, writers, DJs would be inspired by certain superheroes, and I mean, look at the names like the Furious Five and the Fantastic Four,
right.
DJ, Grandmaster Flash, I mean, they just it's endless, man. I mean, up to Wu-Tang Clan with Johnny Storm and Iron Man, Tony Stark. I mean, the connections are crazy, but you also now see like yourself, you have all the even with Marvel and DC and Valiant Comics and Image and all the big publishers, there are artists and all the writers and stuff. They're not just old Jewish men anymore.
Right.
They're hip hop fans that have grown up. And so you're starting to see hip hop in comics now. Like, I mean, you have for years. If you just look, it's there, and the influence
it's more apparent now, like you said,
all over. Yeah. But literally, like I was reading one where the dude's like literally quoting a line from Illmatic, like reading a Nas verse in the Valiant comic.
Sure. Yeah, well, there's a certain power to hip hop, and I think that's undeniable, right? So if the MCU, DC, if all of them are relying upon superheroes with powers, well, there's real powers that are in this life. And I hate to sound corny, I'm certainly not exaggerating them, man, but there is power in music, and particularly with hip hop. I can't tell you to this day how I feel about certain jams that still make me young, still give me power and stuff like that. And that's not found a lot in this world. If you think about the magic that exists, some people think magic exists, some people think it doesn't. And my thinking is that certainly when it comes to the power of music, man, it can inspire you, it can help you to build. And so certainly that's what it did for me. So you're right, man. I appreciate you always knowing that it was out there, but some people may not see it. So that's what you're here for, man, to make people aware of it,
That's right.
So yeah, man. So I always appreciate you, man, Reno. Hopefully you had a good year, and there you go.
Yeah, man. This was like confirmation right here. When I first started this channel, after I had started making a few videos, I ordered this book because I always wanted to check it out. It's RZA's the Wu-Tang Manual, and he's got a chapter or a chamber called Comics. Where there's some imagery of the Wu-Tang comic, but I highlighted this thing that he said because, again, I came up with the name Sixth Element of Hip Hop because hip hop has 5 main elements, and the 6th element being comic books. So that's the whole thing. When you see the 6th element, I'm talking about comics.
Yep, of course.
And that shit was just confirmed when I read this here. RZA said comic books are a main element of Wu-Tang because they are a main element of hip hop in general. They have always been. Both hip hop and comics are about styles and personalities. Comics are about special powers, and they're about teams of dudes united in a one life or death cause. To me, hip hop is about the same shit. And then he goes on to talk about how DC Comics and the Justice League and Marvel and the Avengers, Fantastic Four, X-Men, all of that, how they inspired all these different, you know, you got DJ Clark Kent, X-Clan, Wu-Tang, all that stuff. And it's just like a whole chamber on it. But yeah, man, like stuff like that just really makes me keep doing this, man.
So take me back to when you first read that. So when you first read that, Reno, right? Was that something that resonated? Like it just like sparked? And what did it do to your thinking at that point? Just curious.
Well, like I said, like I had just started this channel, so reading that was just like, I guess it was just confirmation that that I was on to something, because you know when you go talking about the sixth element of hip hop, that's a pretty bold statement to say, and obviously, but like. I guess it was backup, RZA backing me up saying, comics are an element of hip hop.
Right. And I do believe things are meant to be. So it was probably meant to be that you read that during that time. It found you. And again, not to sound corny or mystical, but things happen in life that are, things happen for reasons, and things sometimes are not coincidences. Things are, connections and chains, and that one certainly found you. Man. So it's cool, man.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I was into reading Valiant comics for a minute. Like I just got into it, and that's what literally inspired me to come up with the idea for this channel. I was trying to come up with an idea for a YouTube channel, years and years ago, and I was just reading a comic, and it just shocked me. I started reading, like he was like spitting to this female, like he's trying to spit game, and he literally quotes like a Nas rhyme to her,
right?
And I was just like, yo, there's like hip hop in comics now.
Yep.
And I'm like, there's always been comics and hip hop and comics. There's nothing out there for hip hop and comics. Like I want to talk about them both as one. Where can I go watch some videos or see some content about comics and hip hop as one? And then there was nothing. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to start it.
Yeah, excellent, man. And I love the logo too you have, man. You have the like the element table. And you had the SC for 6 hours. Is no thinking, man. Really good thinking, Reno. Yeah, there you go. And how did that idea come to you? How was that idea about because that's the element table. Hopefully, people know
that. Well, that's how the idea. I mean, I was just like thinking of a logo, and I thought, I just like, oh well, sixth element. Let me do a little elemental table, and looking at the business cards, and I found out you could do like square business cards that aren't rectangle. And I was like, oh, I'm going to design it like a periodic table.
Yeah, that's fresh, man. And the colors too, Excellent.
Yeah. But yeah, I appreciate it, man. But yeah, anytime, bro, anytime you have any new projects or new stuff you want to talk about, man, anytime, man.
Anytime. No. Listen, next year coming up is going to be really cool because obviously we're working on issue 2. And then we got, I'm actually going to start. People really dug my Kickstarter's animation to episode 1. So I'm actually going to make a complete animation of the first one. And so it's going to take a little time to do, but it's going to be in the style of the other one. So that's going to be
hard.
So
I can't wait to see that. Yeah.
So Reno, I got 2 questions for you if we have time. Have time for me to answer 2 questions? You sure?
Yeah, man.
One's a Christmas one and one's a DC one. So which one do you want first?
All right, we'll go ahead and do the Christmas one, then we'll do the C one, and then segue into my DC stuff.
Okay, perfect. How did you learn that there was no Santa Claus? How did you find out? And if you can remember or not. I've been asking people this all week.
Yeah, I don't know if I remember that, bro. I don't think.
Okay.
Even as a little kid, I kind of always knew it was my parents. I don't think I ever really believed this. I can't remember if there was a time where I really believed this. I'm sure there must have been, maybe 3, 4, 5 years old. I think by the time I was old enough to like think about shit, I think I kind of knew.
Okay. So at that point, no one really told you. You didn't find out. You didn't see anyone.
It didn't get. No one broke it to me. I wasn't shocked by it. Yeah. No memory on that. No.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
Well, mine was pretty tragic, man. I
had. Tell me what's your.
Yeah, I had the school bully, right? So he's got everyone in recess, and he's giving everyone their noogies and giving their wedgies. It's so funny because as a kid, you exaggerate what you see in your head. I just imagine all of us online just waiting to get our punishment. So
right.
Next, he's punching this guy next, giving him a wedgie. So he came up to me, and always because I always make him laugh, he thought he'd be nice to me. He goes like, "Nah, I'm not gonna do anything to you today." He goes, "But I'm gonna tell you something." And this is like right before Christmas. He's like, when Christmas Eve goes down, stay up, man. Sam, you're gonna watch your parents or your mom in this case. Here, you're gonna see him bring her presents down. You're gonna see it. And that's how I found out, man. I stayed up that night,
Wow.
and there was my mother putting the snow
Man.
under the tree. And so yeah, so he was the gooch, man. He was
Oh
very good.
man, yeah,
Yeah,
he
so that's
grinched you.
how I found out. Yeah. But it's a good
He-
question I
he-
ask everyone, Reno, because it's a good question to find out how you found out and how long should you let
yeah,
that magic last for your kids, right? When do
right,
you tell your
right.
kids when that one doesn't exist? Some people
Yeah,
choose to actually they're the ones that tell them, right? And
yeah.
then
Oh yeah.
those who if you don't, they're gonna find out somehow. So hopefully it won't be as tragic as mine.
I think my wife at one point was like, "Nah, my kid's gonna know that I'm the one
Okay.
doing this. Ain't no magic motherfucker doing this. Like I'm doing this." But nah, but
Yeah, man.
I definitely let my kids believe it as long as they wanted to. But
Yeah.
I think like me, my son wasn't really buying it.
Oh, so he
Yeah,
you knew there was no Santa Claus. Okay.
yeah. I'm
Well,
not
listen, it might
buying it.
be best, It might be best, And yeah, and my DC question, man.
Yeah.
Forgive me for doing this, but I just finished watching Penguin about 2 weeks ago, finally.
Okay.
And holy cow, man! I listened to your show, your take on it, man. So question: how does that change everyone's perception of Penguin, right? Because if you think about it, right, like what do we know about Penguin, right? In terms of
Yeah.
the general population, right? Certainly, we think of Danny DeVito, or
Right.
in some of the earlier comics, he's painted a certain way. Gosh, you can go back to Burt Ward and how he was painted then. What does this do to the Penguin character to people? This is my question to you, being
Yeah.
you're the SME here, or you're the subject matter expert in this. What happens to the Penguin now that the cat is out of the bag, so to speak?
Well, I mean, I think the show like definitely finally gave us a real villain. Like, whereas a lot of these Marvel shows and stuff lately have even these like the villains have always they've tried to make them relatable so that
Yeah,
people would and kind of make them maybe not so bad, maybe almost anti-heroes. And like we just haven't had a real hardcore just villain. Like even Loki ended up being a good guy. Like Penguin is a bad guy. Like he kills a kid, he chokes a kid to death at the end. Like,
were you
and a kid
surprised
that
by
was
that?
his friend.
Were you surprised by that, Reno? Like, were you?
I was surprised that, rather relieved or just impressed that DC had the balls to do that.
Go through with it. To go through with it.
I think it was absolutely the right thing to do. I love the choice. To me it was just balls, man. I'm like I said, it solidified him as a villain. If there was any question, which there could have been, that is he really a bad guy? Like I kind of like him. He said, no. At the end, if you kind of like him, we're squashing all that. Yeah, we don't want you to like him. We want you to know he is the villain, and that's great. Like a real bad guy that I know he's gonna always do the villain thing.
Correct.
Which, yeah, he's supposed to be the antithesis of the good guy, and so yeah. But I think it definitely makes Penguin more. It's funny because it humanizes him because it makes him like just like almost like a Tony Soprano, like an Italian, like a mobster gangster guy versus like the Danny DeVito creature of the sewer.
Correct.
Versus the the from the what's his name?
Yeah, from the West
TV show.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name, the guy that played him, but yeah,
he's Rocky, right? Rocky's trainer. He's Mickey, isn't he?
Trainer, Mickey. Yeah, that guy. Bergman, something like that. Bergman or something. I don't know, but yeah, he was great. But yeah, it's Penguin's never really. He's always been like a cartoon character almost, but like now he's like a real gangster.
Correct. And just like Heath Ledger, kind of changed Joker's perception, and whoever's going to do Joker after him, which Joaquin did, in his own interpretation. I'm curious in terms of what the Penguin character is going to be from now on. What's going to be the iteration of his performance, because that was just every episode was amazing. So yeah, I just wanted your opinion on that part, just to see what you think. I know you dug it. I heard your show. When you actually capsulated it, you summarized it, and yeah, you dug it. But just in general, what you thought of the Penguin himself, you know. So,
Yeah, for sure.
all right, man. Well, listen, man. Just again, wanted to wish you the best this year, man. And
Hey man, thanks for coming through, bro.
absolutely, man.
Anytime, like I said, anytime. And yeah, and let me know when you have new stuff coming up with the comic. I definitely want to
Absolutely.
know about it.
A lot to discuss. Absolutely. And yeah, get ready, man. By end of January, February, man, your goodies are coming, man. And again, it's just a little
Yep,
token of showing how much I appreciate you, dude.
I
Really.
appreciate it, man.
You got it.
Oh yeah, bro. Thank you. All
All
right,
right.
man. See you.
See you. Good seeing you, man. Take care.
All right,
Peace.
one. Let's see, y'all. This is. Oh man. Stu Dog just sent me. He be sending me these trailers. I be trying to tell him these are not real. Let me break it to him. Fan made, bro. Where you at though? Come on, Stu Dog. Yeah, Stu Dog was coming. He was driving. Last I talked to him, so he may be popping in shortly. I don't know. Trying to well, we still got some more to talk about. Just getting into the DC shit, DCU right now. Um okay, just about to start. All right. DC Comics, man, has, I think, or DC, the DCU, James Gunn, Warner Brothers, whatever, they have decided to reboot their universe. And I think for the better, because besides Man of Steel, maybe Aquaman, and the Wonder Woman, like there was some decent stuff out of that universe, but all in all, no. The Justice League movie, no. Flash, definitely not. Like the sequel to some of those, that I mentioned, not so hot. Honestly, the really only gem was the Man of Steel, which I think Cavill's Superman, in my opinion, Man of Steel is the best Superman movie. Just because, listen, I'm not a Superman fan. So if you're not a Superman fan, that movie made you a Superman fan because it was just not that Boy Scout Superman. It was just really badass, and it was just played so well, written so well, acted so well, just looked great. Like compared to the other Superman movies before it, just looked looked better, looked less cheapy, fakey, I don't know, but just was really, really, really good. But I think what James Gunn has cooking is just as good for another reason, in an opposite direction, in another way. But speaking of Gunn and speaking of the DCU and speaking of Superman, let's talk about Supergirl for a minute. I'm actually really excited for this movie. And that's funny to hear. Yeesh. It's funny to say that I'm excited for a Supergirl movie, especially that I'm more excited for a Supergirl movie than a lot of the Marvel shit that I'm hearing about. But I'll tell you why specifically. Well, a couple of reasons. One really small reason is the actress who's playing Supergirl is Millie Alcock, and she was Supergirl, or she played in the Game of Thrones spinoff House of the Dragon and was phenomenal, so good that people were upset in the time jump when they had to recast her with an older actress. So she was so good, and I think she's going to be really good as Supergirl. But that's not the real reason why I'm really excited about the movie as much. What I'm really excited about is that they're adapting a Tom King comic book run, or graphic novel rather, called Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, which you should actually read. Whether you're a fan of Superman, Supergirl, or DC or not, if you like comics, you should read this comic because it's a really well written, really well drawn, like just a really good comic. That's a great story. And the fact that they're adapting something I already know is a great story is so promising, and I'm so excited about it. Because we've been starved of that. Marvel, like I said, they've given us these hodgepodge collages of everything Marvel's ever done in their movies instead of like actually adapting stories from their comic, from their vast library of comics. Stu Dog,
What up? What up?
what up? Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too, sir. Yeah, yeah, you're right about that, man. The MCU is just, I mean, they got their own. I guess they don't want to mix it all, or they feel that what they're writing is better than what's been written. Which, I mean,
Right,
we would agree to do. We would disagree. I can't even say agree to disagree. We would disagree because the things that has been written for Marvel over the past, I could say, I can go back 20 years. I can go back 30 years. I can go back 60 years.
right,
It was phenomenal. It's what drew us into comics. It's what made us love these characters. It made us
mm-hmm.
love Iron Man and Storm and Cyclops and X-Men. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't do it. I mean, it's what people been asking
Yeah,
for the past 20 years. You know what I mean? It's just like that. Um, but they feel that the stuff they're writing is better than what's been written, and that's not the case. Not saying that the stuff that they wrote in the last 10 years wasn't good, because it was. But stuff they written after that, anything after Endgame, it's been hit or miss. Mostly miss because
right,
they changed the demographic. You don't you want to
yeah,
cater to, Disney wants to do what Disney wants to do, and you have to understand that Marvel is under Disney now. And if Disney
right,
wants more women on screen and they want, more inclusion and more, then that's what we're gonna get from Marvel. Marvel can't. They sold their soul to the devil, and now they can't get it back.
yep,
And that's basically what it is. Same thing with Star Wars. Sold their soul to the devil, and they can't get it back. But
yeah,
DC didn't do that. DC said, you know what? We're gonna do our own thing, and we're gonna keep doing our own thing. And they have been doing their own thing for the past 10
yep,
years. And it's
yeah,
been hit or miss. It's been hit or miss. About a 50-50 shot. A lot of it's been missed, some of it's been hit. But it's little things that kept it from being a hit. Like if they would have took Ezra Miller off of Flash, did some reshoots and did some, it probably would have been
yeah,
a better movie.
yeah,
If they would have took the Rock out of Black Adam, put somebody else in there who could play Black Adam instead of playing the Rock playing Black
yeah,
Adam.
right,
That's the Rock. That's the Rock version of Black Adam. But Rock does that in all his movies. That would have been better. People probably would have liked that more. So we know that
mhm,
casting plays a big part in these things. And because of that'll make or break your movie. So you got to,
right,
and I think James Gunn is on to something when he says he doesn't want any big names. I don't want any big stars. I don't want any big names. I don't want anybody got to show their face on camera.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, when you look at the posters for, I think it was the last Avengers movie, uh, I think it was Iron Man. Everybody, like the people who wore masks didn't wear their masks. They were just, you could see, the superhero body and the suit, but no mask. Everybody had their mask up or off or whatever. And it really hurts it because Stan Lee said it best. People want to see the hero in the costume. They're not here to
yeah,
see the actor in the costume. They don't want to see
right,
that. They want to see, when it's Spider Man, they want to see Spider Man. They don't want to see, Tobey Maguire taking the mask off every 5 seconds so everybody can see his face. It doesn't make any sense. So it is what it is. Um, I hope that changes once DC does what they do with Marvel. But I mean, personally, Reno, I feel like they're gonna try to say, well, our formula works, and they're gonna keep doing what they're doing. That's just
mm,
what I believe. I really believe that. So
mm.
we'll see what happens. We'll,
I
we'll, we'll we'll
believe it.
see what happens. It's gonna be interesting. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting year. It's gonna be a very, very interesting year. Very, very interesting.
Yeah. Did you see the comment from End of Zed creator?
No,
He said
no.
he was just on. The guy did the End of Zed comic. He was just on and
Okay.
he said, Stu Dog, damn, I missed you. Give your address to Reno to give to me. I want to send you the issue. So he's gonna send us, the new comic when it is ready. But the
Oh
Kickstarter
yeah,
was
yeah,
successful. And this is
oh,
the
yeah.
comic about the robot that crash lands in the Bronx in
That
the
crash
80s.
on it. Yeah, yeah. That was a dope. Yeah, he was supposed to come back on. What happened, man? He was supposed to come back and
Well, he will
yeah,
when the
man.
comic comes out and shit.
Yeah. Cause that's a dope idea he has, man. I like that. I like that little dope idea he got, man. You know,
Yeah,
I like
yeah. I really,
original. That's an original idea where he took something and just made it so. I like that, man. That's creative. That's real creative. And that's what we try to push creativity, man. Like
right.
there's only so much you could do that's like everybody else, man. And the more creative you are, the more the more people will be into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. So like, yeah, and I was just talking about this sorry, I keep calling it Wonder Supergirl movie that James Gunn is working on with and why I'm so excited about it, because unlike a lot of these Marvel projects and other projects that we've gotten, this is actually based specifically on a specific graphic novel, like a real story that's been written. We know it's a good story, and
It is a good story.
yeah,
It
and
is.
it's just
I,
adapted.
I I'm gonna tell you a secret. I slept on that for a while, and I
Yeah,
was
me
in
too.
my LC. I was in my LCS, and one of the guys, Troy, that works there, he was like, "Yo," he was like, "Have you been reading Supergirl?" And I was like, "Nah." He was like,
I
"It's
know.
good, man." He was like, "It's good." I was like, "Stop." He was like, "Yeah, I'm telling you." He was like, "It's better than anything on the shelf right now." I was like, "Yeah,
Mm,
right." He was like, "I tell you what." He said, "If I can get all the issues, if I can get you caught, like all the issues that they were up to at that point." He said, "You buy them and you don't like them." He said, I'll let you refund your money." I was like, "Yeah, right." He's like,
mm,
"No, I'm telling you, they're good." So I came in like a week later and he had them. He had a stack of 'em. I think
mm-hmm,
by the time I got to it was like up to like issue 8 or 9 or something like that. So I
mm.
bought them and I read them and I came back and I just started smiling. I was like, "Yeah, it's good."
Wow.
I was like, "Yo, I want to read. I want to see what's next." Like I wanted to read what was like I was hooked by them, bro.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth reading if you haven't read it and you haven't read a good comic series in a while. I would recommend it. I would highly recommend you going on eBay or something like that and getting those comics. You can probably still get them for fairly cheap. But once that movie comes out and they start pushing that movie, those comics are gonna shoot through the roof.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and we've
Yeah.
talked about that on here before about how those
Mm-hmm.
comics go up in price. Yeah, once they get on the big screen and they start doing whatever they do, those prices shoot. They straight skyrocket, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be a $40 book, a $30 book. All of a sudden it's a $200 book, $1,000 book. You gotta get it. You gotta get it while you can get it.
Yeah, man. It's if you haven't seen it yet, if you haven't read it, and you're not a fan of Supergirl, which she's not doesn't have a big giant fan base. She's not a super popular character, but really good story, man. Like I said, it's just really well done, really well written. It is a mini series 1 through 8, and yeah, they've got a graphic novel. It's put together. But I read it as a graphic novel, altogether.
That's what I wanted. I wanted once I read the comics, I wanted the graphic novel. I never got it. I just kept the issues that I had. I never got the joint.
Yeah. And here's just number one. It's $40 for just number one of the 8,
Well,
and that's because they know that the movie's going to be made. But you can get
yeah.
the trade paperback rather here for $20. And I wonder if it's 1 through 4. It's probably just 1 through 4. Let me see. Collects the entirety of the 8 issue. Okay,
Eight
so you get
issue. Yeah. You
the
get all eight
whole.
issues.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
actually not a
And
bad
that's not
deal
a
at all.
bad price. That's not a
Yeah.
bad deal at all. Yeah. And you can slab that too. I mean, come on.
Hmm.
If you really,
Well, yeah,
want to make it a focus item.
yeah. And the thing is like I said, it's a well written, good story that is going to adapt into a dope movie. And you know, I think that's the important thing, is knowing that something's going to be a well written quality thing, and also knowing that James Gunn, the DCU, they have a big sort of focus on making sure shit is original, making sure shit is written well. And they're, Gunn said, we're not starting production on any movie until the script is written. And I would think this would go without saying, but apparently, according to Gunn, he said the way Marvel does it is he said they'll start production on a movie with no third act written yet. Like the script will just have act 1 and act 2 and not have any third act written, and they'll start production on the movie just because to like meet a deadline or hit some schedule. He said, we're not doing that. We're not playing the deadline game. He said, if that fucking third act is not written and I don't like it, we're not starting production. I don't care what date we set or any of that. And I'm like, bravo fucking vo. Thank you, sir. I dig it. Like, I don't care if the movie takes long to come out. If you're writing it, if you're making it, you know, if you're making it good, because we've been starved. We've been starved of good superhero comic content, man, for too long. But with David Cornsweet leading the Superman movie this July, Gunn has a lot of time on his hands. With his sights on the next project, which will be Millie Alcock starring as Supergirl in the Supergirl Women of Tomorrow. So it's called Supergirl Women of Tomorrow. And he said, I didn't necessarily know that Supergirl would be the second movie we were going to make, but Anna Nagoria wrote an incredible script, and then we hired an incredible director, and we're going to do this movie after Superman because it was the best option. He said, other movies have been written, but they haven't been as good as this one. So we're going to keep going with that. Everything has to be good. Quality comes first in every project we do, and that's more important than telling a grandiose mega narrative. End quote. Marvel. Now, a lot of the plot details about Supergirl are being kept tightly under wraps, and we certainly know about the top of the line talent behind the scenes. Craig Gillespie will serve as the director after recently directing Dumb Money, the story of the GameStop stock fiasco. He's also well known for his work on Cruella, starring Emma Stone, and I, Tanya, the 2017 ice skating thriller that saw Margot Robbie earn her first Oscar nomination playing Tanya Harding, who busted the knees of the other skater. But furthermore, Rob Hardy, best known for his work with the Alex Garland on Annihilation, Ex Machina, and Civil War, 3 really cool movies, will serve as the cinematographer. So very, very cool cinematography in those movies that he's done. So I really think it's going to fit really well. As for Millie Alcock being casted, Gunn previously revealed that she was the first person I brought up to Peter for this role well over a year ago when I had only read the comics. I was watching House of the Dragon and thought she might have the edge, grace, and authenticity we need for DCU Supergirl. And now here we are. Life is wild sometimes, end quote. I love that. I love that. I love that James Gunn was also watching House of the Dragon, thinking she's awesome, and he knew that they were making a Supergirl movie, and he thought she'd be great. And that's dope. Like, that's how it really should go. Like, I should see her in something and be like, that would be cool, and then cast that. Instead of making up shit. But I mean, Stu, you saw House of the Dragon, right?
Yeah, I watched House of the Dragon here and there. I gotta go back and finish watching it.
Oh, you want
I
to
get distracted.
Well,
I get
yeah.
distracted, but other stuff might come on. Then I start watching that. Then I come back to that. I try to watch like
You
5,
gotta
6
be,
things.
yeah. You gotta be a big Game
Yeah,
of Thrones fan.
yeah. I did read part of one of the books. I was at work. One of my coworkers had it, and it was good.
Oh, really?
Like, I was like, yeah, I read like maybe like a couple chapters. I read like 2
Oh, wow.
chapters of one of the books, and it was good. No, I'm not even gonna lie. Like sometimes when you read
Yeah.
a book and you start off in the beginning, it's kind of dry. Like let me see,
Yeah.
like Les Miserables. Victor Hugo, when you read his writing, it's kind of dry. Like, but it's good. But it starts
Yeah.
off kind of dry because he like really like I don't know. He really kind of dives into the character and he'll spend a whole chapter on a character just explaining the person and their nuances and their likes and dislikes. And you're
Yeah.
like, ah, like, can we get on with the story,
Mm.
please? But when I read some of that book, I was blown away. It was good writing. I see
They're
why they
really
made it
good.
into. Yeah, I see why
Yeah.
they made it into a movie. I think you own a lot of them, though. You own all of them, right?
Yeah, I own all of them. Yeah, I own all of them.
Yeah, those joints are good. Like those are
Yeah,
really, really good.
I got all the paperback Game of Thrones. I got most of the hardcover versions. I got the spin-off books like Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, and I've got all the graphic novels. They graphic novelized the Game of Thrones, and then they also have a spin-off, the Hedge Knight, which they're doing a show about that they're working on now. I think it's going to be an animated show, I hope, and that's going to be really cool. Oh no, it's not. It's not animated. Sorry, I've seen some of the sets and some of the casting and stuff like that, and it looks, just like Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, just that quality of set production and all that stuff. So can't wait for that. That's going to be called The Hedge Knight. But following the so up until yesterday, there's been no sort of news on the Supergirl movie when it's coming out or any of that stuff, and now we have some new news. According to the production bulletin, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is set to begin filming in January of this year, so just next month, with production reported to run through May, and that would give the film about a year of post-production before its anticipated release in June. On June 26th, 2026. So 6/26/26 is when you should see that movie. And the film is poised to follow in the footsteps of Superman, the movie Superman Legacy. It used to be called Building the Momentum for DC Studios, evolving its DCU cinematic universe, and it would be the second live action production. The locations and stuff, they're talking about filming in London, England, and an undisclosed area of Iceland, which I think will be the Fortress of Solitude. I think we're going to see her and Superman at the fortress. That's probably why they're going to be in Iceland. That's my guess, but maybe not. I think Greenland would have been a wiser choice, since Iceland is really more green and Greenland is really, really more ice. But anyway, DC's parent company, Warner Brothers, operating a studio in Leaves Eden, England, is a natural choice for filming. And next year, the same site is expected to host the Batman Part 2, entitled and the untitled Bane and Deathstroke project. Yes, they're making a Bane and Deathstroke movie. How fucking cool is that? Yes.
Damn time. Yeah. But wait, listen, Sony's been doing it, making these villain movie hero, anti-hero
Hero-less
villain movies
villain.
without
Yeah.
right, hero-less villain movies, right? Without, I mean, come on, if you can do it and do it better, why not? I don't mind. Matter of fact,
Oh, yeah.
I'm pushing for it, man. I'm like, let's get it done. Let's get it popping. Let's do it.
Absolutely, man.
I,
You gotta go.
yeah, I gotta go fight crime, man.
All right, bro.
I tell you, I wasn't supposed to go in tonight, but I'll call you tomorrow and tell you about that, man. That one, something like that will never happen again. Yeah, man, because I really wanted to stay home tonight, man. I really did, but I had to do a favor for somebody, and
I got you.
it's just kicking me in the butt right now, because I really would rather sit here. I really would rather sit here and chill with you and our audience and do all this, but like, maybe we can do a show tomorrow or something, man. Knock one out tomorrow. Doing all week.
Oh,
Skip it.
I mean, yeah. Well, I gotta work tomorrow on Friday, but
you
Saturday.
gotta work tomorrow?
Yeah.
Saturday for sure. All right, Saturday for sure. All right, we'll kick it Saturday, man. We'll kick it. But I'll call
You
you
already
tomorrow,
know.
Miguel.
All right, bro.
All right, peace.
Be safe. One.
All right, one.
So yeah, man, these are some of the dope images from the Supergirl graphic novel, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. So I really like the art style and everything like that. Like I said, it's a well-written, it's a well-written book. But you see her here covered in blood, battle damaged sword. Like she's had a very different story than Superman. She's not wasn't raised, didn't get blown off of Krypton when she was an infant, right? She was a teenager when Krypton got destroyed. But like because of time travel or distance, I don't know, something about the way she got to Earth when she ended up getting there, she was like younger than Superman he was at that point, or at same age or something like that. But like I said, he was an infant, she was a teenager when Krypton blew up. But the way they aged was differently because of what she went through floating through space and going through, what she went through, and shit like that. So I can't wait to see this played out because it's very interesting if you like that sort of cosmic comic stuff. The like I said, Tom King wrote this acclaimed comic series, and Millie Alcock is going to play the title role from the comic, Kara Zor-El. The supporting cast, you've got Matthias Schoenaerts as Krem of the Yellow Hills. That's Krem, Krem of the Yellow Hills. Look that up. A villain. And Eve Ridley is in a yet-to-be-disclosed role. Produced by James Gunn and Peter Safran, the film is part of the DC Studios revamped cinematic universe, which will likely connect to the Gunn Superman movie. I believe that Superman will probably be in it. A lot of characters are going to be crossing over in all the Gunn DCU movies. So, if you see characters in one movie, you'll likely see them in the next movie and stuff like that. They're not doing any Justice League films, so no movie where the Justice League is formed, but you'll see all the characters and all the familiar people and stuff. They'll be all bouncing around doing what they do, just like they do in the comics. So unlike any Superman movie before where it was just Superman, and Lex Luthor pretty much, this will actually have tons of characters just like you see in a Superman comic book. And that's why I really think one of the reasons why I think the DCU is going to be much better for comic fans than the MCU. So whether, the DCU is going to, outdo the MCU money-wise, legacy-wise, whatever, whether or not that's true, I think it's definitely going to outdo the MCU as far as being pleasing fans of comic books. Right? I think it's going to be much better for us comic fans than the MCU has been. Yeah. The original Supergirl, bro, I had the biggest crush on Helen Slater. She was she's 61 now. The original Supergirl makes a rare public appearance amid major news. Oh man, she was smoking hot. She was Billie Jean. She had a couple movies in the 80s. The original Supergirl Helen Slater was pictured enjoying a solo walk around LA this weekend as news that her standalone 1984 film finally hit streaming services. So Helen 61 was snapped grabbing a well-deserved Starbucks coffee, looking casual in cropped jeans and a loose chambray shirt. What does she look like right now? Check her out, 61. There she is, my childhood crush. 20 years my senior, 20 something years. But yeah, she's there she is in all her glory, and that costume was pretty accurate. I mean, it was pretty good. Like that costume is not too different from the comics. Like even the most recent one, the one that they're adapting now, she kind of looked. It's pretty much how the suit looks. Skirt, yellow belt, boots, similar boots and stuff like that. But yeah, she looked hot. Helen was went on to star in The Legend of Billie Jean, City Slickers, Lassie, and she provided the voice of Talia al Ghul in Batman the Animated Series. I did not know that. The actress also remained in the DC Comics world, portraying Lara L., the biological mother of Superman in Smallville, and played Eliza Divers, Supergirl's foster mother, in 2015 Supergirl TV series. So she stayed in the Supergirl Superman universe. I didn't know that. I don't watch TV like that. I don't watch any like CW, any of those shows like that, Smallville's or any of those TV series like that. I've just never. I don't like. I don't know. I just don't like the format. I don't like the TV. I don't like the way the shows are. I don't like the way I just don't like it. I don't like the production. I don't like, maybe it's the acting, the directing, the sets, the lighting, the camera. I don't know. Something about it it looks cheap. It's hard to describe because like I know it's not bad, like, but some of it just, I don't know. I think it's the acting and the writing that just, yeah. I'm a movie guy. I'm a film buff guy. I like movies, so naturally the only TV shows that I like are like movies. They're, Game of Thrones, Sopranos, shit that's on HBO. A&E did start to come out with some really good cinematic quality shows, or at least, writing wise. Obviously Breaking Bad, Mad Men, a couple of shows on network TV that I do respect and watch. But for the most part, if it's not on some premium channel like HBO, Showtime, Cinemax, or now these days a streaming service, even a lot of the Netflix shows aren't quite, but yeah, like that's what I love about DC right now. DC is using the HBO Max, production for their shows. I mean, look at Penguin. Penguin was right up there with any, premium series. So I really dug Penguin. That's a show I'll watch. The Disney Plus shows, by contrast, the Marvel shows, they don't have quite the same feel as the Marvel movies, and they certainly would have been better on a studio like Max, like HBO. Disney Plus doesn't have the experience. They've got the money, it's Disney, but they don't use it. If they don't have the experience, I don't know. They just is what it is. Yeah, but we'll see what they do from now on. But I think DC has really got it locked with HBO, and the shows that they've got coming up. It's all going to be phenomenal. Can't wait. But let's see. So something in the trailer also did seemingly confirm that Gorilla Grodd will, if not be in the movie, be mentioned or be in some way. But James Gunn is clearly embracing comic books in a very big way. He is a comic fan. He reads comics, he collects comics, and you can tell, and he's really, I think, just sort of just going all in, man. And the movie Superman takes place in a world that's already established. Superman's already a thing. It's not an origin story. People already know that there's superheroes. Characters are out running around doing wild shit. There's a lot of familiar faces from the comics already confirmed to appear, already that we've seen in the trailer. And in this week's episode of Creature Commandos, we saw into the future where Princess Rostovich is allowed to live, and she reveals that she and Gorilla Grodd unleashed Armageddon on the world, killing its heroes as they lead an unstoppable army. And Bavaria looks to be set in a key location in Superman. And, as we explained in one of the breakdowns, the Man of Steel's intervention there could lead to an international incident. And so some of the eagle-eyed fans that have been taking a closer look at a newspaper there featured in the teaser, and the headline reads, "Hammer of Boravia creates havoc downtown." And beneath that, you see a photo of a character clearly meant to be Gorilla Grodd. Is the Hammer of Boravia the kaiju that Superman battles? We don't know. But if Grodd is out there and looking to conquer the world, that must be a plot point that Gunn intends to pick up on in a future project. We're not sure when or where. but the seeds are clearly being planted. And in the comics, Gorilla Grodd is Flash's enemy from Gorilla City, which is a city located in the jungles of Africa, which is populated by intelligent gorillas. And beyond this newspaper, we expect at least a brief cameo appearance from the villain in Superman, because, like I said, but Gunn said, I'm not going to set up whole universes with end credit scenes. He said, I love giving audiences who sit through all the credits, end credit scenes, but I'd rather it be something that's fun for the fans and not necessarily, hey, we're setting up the whole next part of the universe, end quote. Because honestly, you couldn't leave, like Marvel held you hostage. You couldn't leave until the end credit scene because that shit was important. You had to see that to know what was going on. And so they were very necessary scenes. And while I loved them at the time, I do like Gunn's idea of actually just making it something that you could miss and it wouldn't hurt a fucking thing. But if you haven't peeped that Gorilla Grodd cameo, I guess you would say, in the Superman trailer, here is where you can see it. If you look here, there's a Twitter post here, but right there, one of the guys is holding a Daily Planet. It says Hammer of Baravia creates havoc downtown, and then here is a clear photo of Gorilla Grodd. And then, of course, over here, you've got the Creature Commandos version where Gorilla Grodd is right there. And then up top, you see a picture of Baravia where the Hammer of Baravia creates havoc, so there you go. No, it's just gonna put it. I'll just see if I can blow it up for you guys here. See if I can make it bigger. There's a little bit of a bigger one, so you can see kind of there. You can kind of make it out. There's the Gorilla Grodd character. I mean, we assume. I mean, certainly appears to be a Gorilla Grodd type looking character for sure. And then, of course, in Creature Commandos, we're dealing with Grodd. Now, like I said, Grodd is a Flash villain traditionally, and Gunn has finally shared an update on the Flash's DCU future after the whole Ezra Miller debacle, which, in my opinion, ruined one of my all-time favorite DC characters, the Flash, who I really, really liked and wanted to see a great film. But Ezra Miller played him, and it's what is this shit? What is this shit? Like, what the fuck are you doing here, bruh? Like, this is the Flash is fucking what is this bullshit? Like, what that movie was? I digress. But yeah, the update has been revealed about the plans for the Flash DCU, the all-new cinematic universe established by DCU. This follows Ezra Miller's movie Crashing and Burning in 2023. And previously, there's been reports, I think, that DC Studios CEO Gunn is looking to recast all the members of the Justice League for the DCU. And of course, that has already begun with David Cornsweet stepping up to be Superman. But it remains to be unclear, it remains to be seen when the DCU's version of the Flash will appear. But on Threads, Gunn was asked by a fan why the company greenlit a film about the supervillain Clayface before focusing on more prominent characters such as the Flash or Wonder Woman, which is a stupid comment, a stupid question from a stupid person that is not a comic fan, and that's why they're stupid. But, yep. Gunn explained that the Clayface rose to the top because it has a great screenplay that is ready to go before the other planned projects. And here's the problem with the comment from this moron is that, like, dude, you want them to prioritize things over story. And I don't want them to prioritize anything over story. Story is number one. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Like, and Gunn feels the same way, and that's why I think it's looking good. But he said, here, let me show you the tweet. Well, the tweet is it says It says, is Clayface official? It says, James Gunn, is Clayface officially the third DCU film? Why didn't you choose to do more prominent character first, like Flash or Wonder Woman? Gunn says, because of the number one rule here at DC, no movie will be greenlit before the script is ready. And the Flanagan and the script for was ready. And as for the Flash, we're holding a beat on development. So they're going to pause on the Flash. It's not, I don't think we're going to see a Flash probably at all in this chapter, in this, Gods and Monsters, because the whole thing with the DCU is he's got chapters, right? Chapter 1 is called Gods and Monsters, and that's, everything from the Superman to the Swamp Thing movie, and everything in between, Green Lanterns, all that stuff. There'll be a second chapter called whatever, which I think will have a lot of Flash going on. Whether it's 10 years from now or what, probably will be, but yeah, Gunn said, yeah. So, him saying that as for the Flash, we're holding a beat on development. It's smart because the DCU, EU, and Ezra Miller, they just really trashed that character's image, and so we need to put some distance. So that's a good thing. It's a good thing. Trust me. But other than that, the Flash is if you need a Flash fix, you've got the DC Absolute Universe, which has been phenomenal. We've got a Batman, a Superman, and a Wonder Woman so far, and next is Flash. So it looks really cool too, by the way. It's going to be expanding in 2025 with Flash, and Jeff Lemire, one of the best indie writers, and Nick Robles are going to be writing and working on the Flash stuff. And so Robles gave us a close-up look at the Flash's new costume for the Absolute Universe, in which you should already understand that the Absolute Universe is a very different universe than we've seen ever in Disney or DC, and all the characters look very different. They have different origins. They're just basically different characters altogether, just with recognizable names and slightly recognizable looks, but very well written and definitely worth a read. So whether you're a big fan or not, but the Absolute Flash, let's see. So it's a concept art, it's a concept design, and it's got a black, white, and red color scheme. The main suit is actually black with white accents, and much of the red is in the jacket with small accents on the mask and shoes. The lone area of gold in the suit is found in the mask goggles style visor. Now, like I said, it's a very different version of the character. So don't get excited. Don't get upset. This is not taking over Barry Allen or anything like that. This is just the Absolute Universe. Hold on real quick. Squeezy McGee, what you talking about? Isn't this cinematic universe like 10 or 15 years too late? Superman is being marked to Generation Z, and they don't seem to know or care about it. That intentional conflict plot sounds like an awful lot like Batman vs. Superman and Black Adam. The international conflict plot. So many of the scenes in the trailer look like Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. Well, don't worry. It's going to be very, very, very different than Man of Steel or Batman v Superman. Whether you liked them or not, we don't want to see a repeat. So, but no, it's very different. Almost the opposite. Think of the DCEU as more of a muted, darker, gray, sepia tone, and think of the new DCU as like the full rainbow, right? Just different in look, in attitude, but mainly it's different in that the DCEU was a Hollywood, very much, cinematic universe, whereas the DCU is more of a comics adapted to live action universe, if that makes sense. It's going to be more recognizable from the comics. But speaking of recognizable from the comics, here is a very unrecognizable Flash in the comics. That's Absolute Flash. That's how he's going to look in the new Absolute comic. As for the new Flash, new Batman, or the Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, Absolute Wonder Woman, I think they all look phenomenal. Totally different, but really, really cool. This, not so much. I love the Flash's look, and this is just, I mean, it's really Wally West. It looks really like Wally West, and but I mean, it gives me, like, I don't know, Static vibes. Like, it just, I don't know. I don't know. And them shoes, like, what is he wearing? J's? Like, I don't know. Like little girl jacket. I don't know. It's not for me. Maybe it'll grow on me. Because the Absolute Universe is being real. I'm sure the story's going to be great. And so hopefully that look will grow on me. But I'm sure it will be a fun read, well written, and all that good stuff. Guys, we've been rocking out. Whoa, it's 9:45. 3 hours we've been doing it, and I think we're gonna call it a night because my back is getting a little sore and I'm ready to go eat some food and kick back. Watch. What am I gonna watch? I gotta watch something. What am I gonna watch? Let's see. Ooh. Yeah, I think I'm gonna watch Lord of the Rings. Ooh. We got Gladiator 2. I haven't finished yet. Might finish that, but I just watched Werewolves. That was kind of stupid, actually. I was hoping that would be good. What If Season 3? I might finish What If Season 3 here in a moment. Probably will do that. And also, there's a movie I want to watch. The Lord of the Rings Battle of the Rohirrim. Where is that? There it is. Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. Yeah. If y'all haven't, it's in the theater right now, guys. You should definitely check that out. It's made in Japan and like New Zealand, and it's anime, but it really, it gives me vibes of the old Hobbit cartoons. The frame rate is really slow, so it's like choppy, and it looks 2D, like it's pencil drawn, and it just really gives you a old, I don't know, just a classic sort of vibe to it. But yeah, 183 years before the events chronicled in the original trilogy, a sudden attack by Wolf, a clever, ruthless Dun-Nendling lord seeking vengeance for the death of his father, forces Helm Hammerhand and his people to make a daring last stand in the ancient stronghold of Hornburg. Finding herself in an increasingly desperate situation, Hera, the daughter of Helm, must summon the will to lead the resistance against a deadly enemy intent on their total destruction. It's a Lord of the Rings offshoot, called the War of the Rohirrim. The Rohirrim are the horse lords. They you saw them in the Peter Jackson movie. But yeah, it's like a cool little side piece. That's probably what I'm gonna watch tonight. But yeah. Other than that, y'all, thanks for coming and hanging out with us on this Christmas day. We'll see you guys this Saturday for DC Power Hour. As always, have a good one, and we'll see you then. Y'all be safe. Have a good Christmas. Peace.